All right. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, released in 2023 by Nintendo. As we all know, it is the sequel to the hit success Breath of the Wild. As we all feel about that, which will be one of our very early discussion points that I want to talk to you guys about. Tears of the Kingdom was generally received pretty close. I'm talking about the normies. It was generally received about the same as Breath of the Wild was. If anything, people considered it slightly worse. When we get into some of the gameplay stuff, I'm going to kind of go through each of the systems with you guys for that first bullet point that we have and kind of get your guys' opinions on it, and then also describe what I understand is the general consensus on those systems, and then why I actually like them for the most part. I picked this game because all four of us had very negative experiences with Breath of the Wild, I believe, but I gave Tears of the Kingdom another chance. It came to me at a good time when I just needed a mobile game because I was staying over at Cass's place. We were going into work together, which meant that I was going there an hour early, so I was just like playing this game on my Switch at like very convenient times, which I think kind of flavored a lot of my patience for some of the systems of this game in hindsight. But I wanted to start with all of us just kind of briefly describing our experiences with Breath of the Wild and why you guys disliked it. I know most of us like didn't play it a whole lot, but I just want to kind of establish a baseline because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of like back and forth comparisons to Breath of the Wild. Sesh, if you want to start.
Yeah, I only played Breath of the Wild for like an hour, and the stamina system was fucking terrible, and swimming and running taking stamina, and climbing taking stamina, like just basically everything taking stamina. And then when I picked up weapons and was swinging the weapons, and the shit was like broken, and I was having to manage that, I was like, nah, this game's not a game. It's just tedious bullshit, and I stopped pretty quick.
Thomas.
Pretty much the same, but I played it for longer, I think. I played up until when you get the Master Sword because I had such a viscerally deep hatred of the weapon durability mechanic that my brain said, well, don't worry, they're not going to let the Master Sword break.
Oh, and then I guess I can add, I played it on Wii U instead of on Switch, so it also ran like absolute ass.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, that
that'd
sucks.
be butt ass. But as soon as I got the Master Sword, swung it a few times, and it like ran out of energy or whatever the fuck happens with it, that was the game. I just immediately threw the disc across the house.
Ben.
Okay, so similar to everyone else, I played Breath of the Wild on launch. I did not get very far. It was the weapon durability and the fact that the shrines were really boring that did me in. I didn't really care or feel too strongly about the stamina. And also, I mean, I understand like why people don't like that, but I kind of like it. It's like a little concession towards like a little bit of immersion where you have to kind of slightly respect the world. So I don't mind it too much. And on top of that, after I played Breath of the Wild, um, I didn't play TOTK. How the fuck? This is going to be really embarrassing. I had to think about it for a second because I've never actually said out loud the words "Tears of the Kingdom" before. So I was like, "What is this game called?" I was about to have to say like TOTK.
That's funny.
So I didn't play it on launch, but I did play a fuck ton of Genshin Impact. So going into this game with that Genshin Impact experience, it was actually pretty smooth for me. And I found out that the durability really didn't actually bother me that much to the point where I think that if I went back to replay Breath of the Wild, I might actually like it.
See, that's interesting, and it kind of segues into what I wanted to talk about as we just jump down into the gameplay systems. The reason I didn't like Tears of the Kingdom was uh, you could like kind of boil it all down to the durability and the stamina system, but I think my broader point is the stamina is an issue because the reward structure of that game is just like fundamentally flawed. Like you spend all of this time and effort to get to a shrine, and that's basically the entire game. It's just doing that and the kind of emergent narrative experiences that happen from that point, which is something that these games are good at. But my main problem was that coupled with that gameplay loop with the shrines is the durability system, where you're just expending weapons to get more weapons that like sometimes is even a downgrade because you go to a shrine and it's like a little boss monster that you have to fight, and you use like 3 or 4 of your weapons because it was too hard for the area you're in, and then you get one weapon to replace it. It felt Sisyphusian at times. This game, as we jump down into the gameplay section, I felt fixed pretty much all of my issues with Breath of the Wild, aside from a few. The first one I want to start with, this is just in the what worked, what didn't, why section, is the fusion system. In my eyes, the fusion system almost entirely fixes the issues I had with the durability system in Breath of the Wild. Do you guys agree? And if you don't,
I might need an explanation of how the system actually works, because from the way that I understand it, I don't know how it could fix the game for someone that doesn't like the Breath of the Wild durability.
Well, you kind of nailed it when we were talking about it around the time when we started, because
Oh,
I
so
think
when I said that, basically what you would do is that you would kind of micromanage it, basically, where you would fuse a weapon, and when it's about to break, you manually break the fused part and refuse a new thing on top of it. Is that
no,
what it is?
that sounds tedious as fuck.
Oh, then what did I mention?
How you mentioned there was a feeling of expendability with the weapons that I don't think was true in Breath of the Wild.
Okay, so
in this game you are like intended for the weapons to be entirely disposable because it wants to promote experimentation with the fusion.
Okay, so maybe tell me if I'm putting words in your mouth. So what you're saying is, because of the existence of the fusion system, it made the developers add more weapons into the game in general, which kind of fixes the durability problem because you get all these weapons.
Yeah, that's a side effect of it. Yeah, like I never once ever felt like I was running out of weapons. I always had infinite amounts of like monster parts to add onto my weapons. If I wanted to like go and find a couple of weapons, I would just explore the depths for a little bit. Even then, I didn't have to do that all that often. And like even then, like I would usually have like a couple of rods in my inventory, the elemental things, just to like have them in case I wanted fire, water, or like electricity on demand or whatever. And I still didn't have issues with inventory space.
Yeah, I actually had. Oh, sorry, you can go ahead.
So here's where I differ from you here. So I actually do agree that it feels like the durability system was actually mitigated to a degree in this game, but also kind of nothing you listed had to do with the fuse system. Like to me, it just sounded like they just included a fuck ton of extra weapons in the game so that you didn't really run out, and then on top of that, there's ways that you can augment them. But the problem in Breath of the Wild was that you constantly ran out of shit to use, and you just ended up having to hit things with sticks. In this game, like it's absolutely true that there's like an abundance of like decent weapons, but fuse doesn't really do anything to that. I thought the fuse mechanic was, oh god, there's a lot of heavy bitching I can do about this game, and the fuse mechanic is kind of one of them, where I don't feel like the fuse mechanic did much. It like would occasionally add a +4 to a weapon. Maybe it like does fire damage now, but it wasn't interesting.
It's not interesting mechanically. It's more, to me at least, I think it's funny to be like, I got a thick stick. Like, I think that's the whole point of why it's like cool.
For me, it was about keeping certain weapons on hand for certain, like, and I was kind of used to this kind of from Genshin Impact, but like I felt a need to always have access to every single element at all times, if that makes sense. And that's what the weapons provided with the fusion system.
And yeah, that's definitely true. But I mean, I guess one of the things I wrote down about the fusion system is that I felt like it was just a lot of novelty confused for depth. Like, wow, I can put mushrooms on my sword. No fucking way, dude. But like, what does it do? Like,
I mean,
that's
I'll just give like one, like this is a tiny example, just the first thing that came to mind. Sometimes I would be like a little bit in over my head in certain areas, and if I had like, maybe I had like a 35 attack power short sword, and I'm attacking some moblins that are like one-shotting me because I'm in over my head where I'm at. The short sword isn't going to like disorient them at all. You have to get like a full combo to knock them down, so they can end up just killing you in the middle of your combo. So what I would do a lot of times is, oh, I have a long stick in my inventory. I'm gonna put like a decently strong weapon on the end of the long stick, and now I can just poke from a distance instead of trying to engage them. Or, like I think Ben mentioned, like using different elemental weaknesses depending on those kind of enemies, and there's just a lot of different things like that, I feel.
I don't know. I feel like there's ways to solve that are not the tedious system that they produce in front of me. Like everything for me with this game always goes back to why even bother with the durability mechanic?
There's yeah.
Like
There's something
why
for
not
that.
why not just give me 4 sticks that
Well,
have the 4 elements that I
that
can
goes
just
back
use?
to what I said in the first place, where I think the feeling of expendability and with your weapons is key because it wants you to experiment with different weapon and monster part combinations.
Yeah, and my problem with that is that the experimentation feels shallow because what's the fucking point of putting a mushroom on the end of my sword? And I can extend that to like 95% of the things that you can fuse onto weapons.
There is something that confused me with the design of the game with respect to the expendable weapons, and it's kind of hard to talk about because I think no one else experienced it except for me because I'm the only one that played past the first temple. But basically, does anyone care about spoilers? Just
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no.
okay. So for each temple, you get like a companion, right? This one of the sages. And so when they join you, they can fight and they can actually kill enemies. So my fix for durability is when I collected all of them. So I collected all the sages, all my Pokemon. I would just run around and I would just let them slowly kill all the enemies, so I could save all my great weapons and their durability for the bosses. That's just what I did. That's how I played the whole game. I just used my Pokemon to kill everything, and that was my
Sure.
fix for the durability.
You can do that. You can make vehicles that have weapons on them that auto attack enemies. Shit, like you can make like fucking mechs that just walk in on people and attack them. Just a bunch of different shit like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my issue with that and the reason why I settled with the Pokemon is that the Pokemon were an infinite resource that I never had to like replenish any consumables or tell them what to do. I just walked around enemies and they would just hit them.
Yeah, and
Yep.
like I said, I feel like the durability for me was not necessarily an issue just because of the like overabundance of stuff that the game actually gives you, but I don't really feel like the fuse system was the solution to that or that it really added a whole lot to it either. Sorry,
And the
Jordan, I
one
interrupted you.
thing, sorry,
Yeah,
meant for
I
it
was
go
just gonna
first.
say, basically every point that we bring up, I'm gonna say tedium. Like the fuse system, the UI for that thing was the worst shit I've ever played.
Oh, speaking of
Like,
tedium, uh so you know what I Googled? I Googled the number of Koroks in the game. Does anyone know that number?
isn't it like 800
I
and
hate this as a
something?
criticism. I hate this as a criticism.
Isn't it 800 and something?
It's 1,000.
This was one of Joseph Anderson's critique in his like fucking 5 hour video, and you're not meant to collect all of them. I don't see why that's a criticism. You're just supposed to like, oh, there's like a weird rock placement. Okay, I'm gonna move this rock onto that. Oh, cool, a Korok. You're not supposed to go out of your way and try to find every single one.
Sure, I mean I get that, but at the same time, like there are numerous completionist archetypes out there who will want to do that. And what's the point of adding 1,000?
Okay, so
So it
that's
takes
what I want to
400
contest.
hours.
It's half that, right? Because you're pairs, or are you saying that there's 1,000 pairs of Koroks?
I don't know. I just know that there's a
Not,
number
it doesn't make
thousand
that much
attached to
difference
it.
because 500 versus 1,000 is still a fuckload. I just wanted to make sure that we were being accurate, I guess.
So the problem with it to me, like this
Big.
is like systemically with the game is that I feel like, and I said this in our chat, is that I feel like this game's like light years wide and centimeters deep, and just including 1,000 little shitheads that will give me like 3 little dialogue boxes is just indicative of that like degree of shallowness that's in the game.
So is your criticism that instead of making 1,000 of them, they should have, or 1,000 shallow ones, they should have made 100 deep ones?
Yeah, I think that's always better, in my opinion, anyway.
Sure.
For clarification for Ben, it's 800 individual and 100 pairs.
Okay, gotcha.
You It's kind of funny with Sesh though, because I believe the main critique from the broader community is that the fusion system was widely regarded as just tedious.
Yeah, I mean that's what everything I'll say about this game.
Well, I am curious though, Sesh. Is it tedious just in the action of what you have to do for it?
Yeah.
Like okay.
Absolutely. Like, why can't I just go to the fucking menu, click one, and click fuse with the other one? Why do I have to like use the fucking D-pad? Like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm. The UI.
Oh, and you
When we
start
get down
dropping
to-
on the floor.
Yeah, what the fuck?
When we get down to UI, I want to go into some of the menu shit.
Yeah.
That stuff is bad.
It's so bad.
The next thing I wanted to talk about in the gameplay section is the gameplay loop of the shrine. Like you see a shrine in the distance, you start moving in that direction, you kind of explore the area in the path up to the shrine, you find something cool or a quest or whatever, and then you do the shrine, and then it basically repeats ad infinitum from there. Does that gameplay loop at all grab you guys? And if not, what don't you like about it?
Literally, the only thing I liked about the shrines is when I saw them, I knew that it was a fast travel point. That was
Same.
it.
Same.
That's
Same,
funny.
100%.
I didn't mind the shrines, and I think they're kind of cool. But I hate building vehicles, so as long as the shrine wasn't about that.
To be clear, I'm not specifically referencing the gameplay inside the shrine. I'm talking about the gameplay loop of everything between the shrines.
I
You
mean,
like seeing a shrine and wanting to go to the shrine?
Yeah, because I mean, you could say that's like 60 to 70% of the game is just exploring what is between the shrines.
I have a hugely negative opinion of that.
I mean, I could just say quickly in that I basically ignored like all those like little like hoblin camps or whatever the fuck they're called. I never even went to one of them because like I think
Same.
you just like none of that stuff. Like the shrines felt like there was a tangible reward. Those little camps where they give you like I don't know some fucking ingredient that I'm not going to deal with anyway because the fuse system is so annoying to interact with that I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to the shrines or like I'm going to go to the story marker and then if I see a shrine in between me and the story marker, I'll check it out.
Yeah, like I went into every shrine just to make
Same.
sure. And usually they were risk-free, and by risk-free I mean no enemies, which is important. And you brought up those like whatever they called those
I
the
think moblins.
goblins.
I think you had it moblins.
They're
That
fucking
sounds right.
goblins. The goblin camps. I went to 0 of them, which is so weird because when I played Genshin Impact, they basically they plagiarized the whole thing, especially I'm not gonna talk about it right now. I'll probably talk about it later. But they stole basically everything. And in those games, those goblin camps, I farmed that shit. That shit was fun. And the reason why I did that is because when I hit those enemies, the weapons didn't break. It was too much of a risk to go to those goblin camps in Tears of the Kingdom because all my shit's gonna break.
Very true. I didn't even think about that part of it. I just didn't like the reward that I got from going to the camps. I did like one,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, this is no, I'm not ever trying this again." Because
Yeah.
like what Ben said, like you just spend so much time and resources, and then you get like 20 rupees, and you're like, "Oh, fuck yourself."
Yep, and that's like a big criticism I have of the game is like, um, God, I don't even know where to start. But like for what you guys are talking about, I never felt solidly rewarded for going out of my way to do something. So like, even when I would solve like the little secondary puzzles inside of all of the shrines, it was like, congrats, here's 5 arrows. Awesome, thank you.
Real quick, I will say something like that because I felt the same way, but I really regretted wasting a bunch of arrows. That shit is
Arrows are
fucking
actually
gold.
like the most important resource.
Like later on in the game when I saw +5, +10 arrows, I was like, oh my god, this is so good.
The difference between going into the depths with 10 arrows versus 3 arrows is night and fucking day, literally.
I mean, I do agree that the bow and arrow is like the best weapon in the game by like 10,000 miles, but also I guess I'm kind of autistic with going and picking up the ones that I shoot that I can. So I was always at like 70 plus.
I think it probably just gets lower as you go further
Yeah.
and you use more.
Yeah, because I remember like I would look at my screen and I would aim the bow and I would see the number like 150. I was like, damn, when am I gonna shoot all these arrows? And when I was in the lightning temple and that shit said 40, I was like, fuck, I'm screwed. I must like go back out and farm all this shit back up.
So I guess let me actually answer Seth's question about the gameplay loop between the shrines, because the shrines suck fuck, but as far as the actual gameplay loop between them, I hated it. So Um, so I really don't like open world games, like first and foremost. And what I don't like about open world games is how the entire purpose of a game being open world, in my eyes, is to pad game length. It's so that like the fucking like developers of Rockstar can print 80 plus hours of gameplay on the back of their fucking jewel case on the PS2, but it doesn't add anything. Like me sitting there holding down the sprint button and waiting until it gets a pixel away from the top and then waiting for that green meter to go back up and then holding down the sprint button until I find something. It's just like it's like playing Sea of Thieves where it's just 5 minutes of action for every hour of nothing. And that is what the loop felt like to me in Tears of the Kingdom to a crazy degree.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that with the stamina bar because I actually do like the fact that it's kind of like a resource management minigame, but I think like if I were to make the game, it would only do that kind of thing when you're climbing. But if you're
Yeah,
just
agreed.
sprinting, fuck that. Like
Yeah, because I actually really liked the stamina for climbing because I felt like it was actually pretty generous with
Mhm.
like the stuff that you could scale. I actually really like that part.
Yeah,
But
there's actually some pretty unique mechanics to it that are interesting. Like you guys might have noticed that if you like the little jump up thing that you do, if you do that and your stamina depletes with it, you do like a super jump. So
yeah,
it rewards you for like going for the oh maybe can I make it, can I not situations.
yeah, because like I'm one of those people who will do as much as I can to like go out of my way to do shit that I think the developers wouldn't have thought of and like climb stuff that doesn't make sense. And let's paraphrase myself here. Let's just say I was not rewarded for that in this fucking game. Um, but the climbing is actually a lot of fun, but they should have just axed it completely from sprinting around the map.
Yep.
It's just kind of interesting because another one of my least favorite parts about Breath of the Wild was actually the climbing components. I just felt like it's not that I dislike the climbing itself; it's just that there was way too much of it, and when you're trying to scale something and you just barely can't make it and you fall down to the bottom and you literally wasted like 30 45 minutes of time just climbing, that felt terrible. And the systems in this game that I felt maybe didn't fix but at least gave you other avenues that made it interesting was ascend and building vehicles and generally zonai devices.
We'll say Ascend is a very cool mechanic. I like Ascend a lot, even though like it's so novel and cool that I forgot it existed, even though it's extremely useful.
Oh, it's the
Oh,
most overpowered thing in the game.
oh
But
yeah.
there's one thing to say, going back to your question, Seth, about like going like the gameplay loop between like I guess like the critical points, right? Like just the general exploration. There are actually some pretty cool things, but I would have never known unless I Googled it.
That's
Like
problem number two. Yeah.
you know those like falling there's like these like
Yeah.
falling like blocks
Mhm.
of
Yep.
like relics that just fall from the sky. If you stand on them and you use the rewind on it, you fly all the way back up to the temple it fell from, and that's how you explore the sky area. I would have never known that unless I fucking Googled it. I would have never
That's
like done
pretty
that
sick.
on my own
Yeah.
I
ever.
mean that is one of those like emergent things rewarding creativity because that's definitely not the only way to get to those points. You know, like I probably got to all of those points just by using the sky towers.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, that makes sense. I didn't even think about that because like something that I did a little bit at the beginning, but I stopped because it was too tedious. Was when I wanted to go towards those like far away locations that I haven't gone to, I went back up to the beginner Sky Island. I just fucking like sky dived and tried to get as close as I
Yep.
could.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
basically did that too. Felt like that was kind of like the intended way to do it, though, in some respects.
yeah, I would say in reference to this, one of the critiques I've heard is that that is far and away the best thing to do for all exploration on the surface and sky. And if you're not doing that, you're pretty much wasting your own time. Which is also true for how you actually find shrines because they're literally designed in this game with a little spiral that you can see from the air. So it to a lot of people it just became one note. Did you guys feel any difference in the gameplay loop exploring the depths, or did you guys not get much time to do that?
I didn't get much time to do it.
I actually liked it, and that's also why I ran out of arrows to it was something you were alluding to. That's a place where I used a ton of fucking arrows. I actually kind of liked it, but obviously my first impression of it was very poor because I was running it on that Yuzu emulator that made everything like transparent, so I didn't actually know if I was running into a wall. But after I fixed that, and thank you, Thomas, for like doing all that fucking work of like typing out like all the steps. Because if you didn't do that, I wouldn't have continued playing this game. It would have been literally impossible. But yeah, I actually did like the devs for what it's worth.
I only did it for like 30 minutes after you said like, hey, go check out the depths, and I did it for 30 minutes, and I didn't understand how that was really different than the surface, other than it's dark and annoying because it's dark.
Well, the main difference I felt is that my main issue with the gameplay loop that I wrote down a fourth question in my questions if we have time that I wanted to ask, but we probably won't. But I feel like the gameplay loop for the regular shrines up top and in the sky, you just get like 0 serotonin for it. Like getting 1/4 of a heart basically for each one does not feel good. Fast travel feels good, I guess, but that's about it. So there's just not enough actually rewarding you, especially when the shrines themselves are not complex enough for the most part. But the reason that I like the depths is because you get that very, 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 very satisfying feeling of lighting up both your topographical map and the entire fucking environment. I love that feeling. I can't get enough of it. I love the chasm.
I guess I don't know. I didn't beat the game, and I didn't like explore the depths as much as like I would like. I would probably say that I saw like 30% of it, maybe. But the thing I did like about a lot is that it was actually a lot more interconnected with the surface than I thought. Because when I played further into the game and got into the fire temple, I got into the way that I guess you were intended to. But when I was inside the fire temple and I realized that you could actually leave it from the bottom and you end up in the depths, that made me realize that like I didn't actually have to do any of that. If I just explored the depths, I could have just gone into the fire temple like without doing what you were supposed to,
Yeah.
I guess. And maybe if I did that, I would run into the issue that Thomas had where he went to the wind temple without the fucking bird dude.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about the combat? Moving away from like durability and the fusion system. How did you guys feel about the combat?
I actually thought the combat felt really nice. Like I thought it controlled really fluidly. It was really snappy. I liked the kind of like pseudo dodge mechanic thing that they had. I when I interacted with the combat, I really enjoyed it. I thought it controlled really well. It felt fair. It felt cool. I liked it.
I feel the same way. The problem is that I went out of my way to not engage with it because I didn't want to use my durability.
Yeah, and I guess the biggest criticism of the game or of the combat rather is fighting with the fucking UI and going through all the various D-pad menus. So, uh, before we continue on, I just want you guys to imagine me playing this game purely on keyboard and doing combat on the keyboard and how fucking ridiculous it was to try and do that.
If it makes you feel any better, it's not that much better on the Switch. It's slightly better, but not much better.
I mean, it was significantly easier when I would come home from work and play on the controller, but on the keyboard it was next level. It was actually kind of fun in a way, like an extra layer of unnecessary challenge.
Is it like playing Twister with yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Because like
Yeah.
you have like three WASD setups basically, and you have to be pressing all three of them at the same time, plus like two other buttons.
Yeah, and then like with the Switch gyroscope aiming, you're doing all of that on top of moving the stick to aim, on top of moving the gyroscope to aim.
Oh, that's actually something that I had a question about because when I played the game, I just like there was like a settings options to turn off motion controls. I turned it off, and I assume I had to because like I was like, how the fuck do you do motion controls on an emulator?
It supports it for a PS5
Oh,
controller at least. Like if you go to controls with your PS5 controller, you can see the gyroscope and where it sits, and you're moving around.
Yeah,
oh, gotcha. I don't know. That just
I would have hated
I
it.
feel like I'm glad that I turned it off anyway.
Yeah, same.
I think it would have made aiming the bow less annoying as fuck. Because I mean, the only reason why I didn't despise combat is because the bow, you just shoot things and then they get knocked over and then you just kill them. Other than that,
Yeah.
it's just the reason why I hate combat in every single 3D Zelda, which is your turn, my turn.
How'd you guys feel about the vehicle building system?
I did very little of it. I made like most of it was just the air balloons because it was the easiest thing to do. I made a rocket thing once, or maybe like twice, and I all that made me do was wish I had more rockets because it was obviously the best thing, but it made me not want to use them because I didn't see a way to like keep getting them.
Gary's mod was released 20 years ago and was cooler than this game on launch.
Yeah, man, I hate vehicle building in every game ever, and this game didn't change my mind. If anything, it just made me be like, yeah, I'm right. So,
If I told you guys that there's an auto builder in the game, would it change any of your opinions?
I mean, in the sense of why is this in the game in the first place? Like, why do I have to build vehicles anyway? Like, maybe, but again, like, I'm not the person to ask because I fucking
What
despise
does
vehicle
auto
building.
build mean exactly?
Anything that you interact with piece by piece is saved in a blueprint system with some number of history. It went pretty far back. I don't know how far back exactly.
Okay, so it's like
but
like a
then you can
quality of
favorite it.
life, I guess, like a template saver.
It is more than that, because if you guys are wondering what to do with all of the zonite that you were acquiring, if you do not have the parts to create the blueprint, it will use zonite to create the vehicle or whatever it is.
That's kind of cool. So like blueprints in Factorio.
Yeah, so I saw that, and the way you obtain that is you do the depths, right? Like it was like one of the
Mostly.
main quests. Okay, so
Yeah,
I don't
that's
think
like
any
the
of
main
us would have
source.
seen it.
It doesn't really change my opinion on it because I felt like, again, as with everything in this game, the actual mechanics around it are so shallow and uninteresting that it was just kind of like, oh, like the first time I came across one of that fucking guy's little the stashes of shit, right? I made myself a little car. And it's like, cool, I can move in a car. It's slow and arduous, and it took like a few minutes to figure out how to connect all of these pieces. I didn't I didn't feel like rewarded for doing it. I didn't enjoy doing it, but I can, and like every other mechanic in this game, it just kind of makes me go whoop-de fucking do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really care for vehicles at all unless they involved the rocket because it was the only one that like compensated for the fact that you had to make it by the fact that it's a fucking rocket and moves fast as fuck. But outside of that, like the only building I actually enjoyed was making like not vehicles, but like things to interact with the environment, like those hooks and stuff. Like I liked that, but I didn't. Whenever I had to make a vehicle, I just chose not to and tried to find another way to solve whatever the problem was.
I would have done that too.
I don't know. I felt like I just had a variety of experiences with it. The most of which was probably just getting a little platform and strapping a rocket or a hot air balloon to it, and just getting a whole bunch of altitude with it, or like springs or whatever.
What are you gonna say, Jordan?
I was just gonna say I hate sandbox games. I hate when they give you when it's like you figure out here's the tools, you figure out the fun. I'd rather have it just like a path. So I hate the temporary nature of the vehicles. Like if I had to build a car once and then I can use that car every time, I think I'd be a little more attentive to it. Basically like the horse shit kind of, but even that's like tedious to get set up.
So I agree with you, except in the fact that I actually really like those sandbox games where um, like there's a high degree of freedom and you can kind of do whatever you want. Uh, the problem is that this game does it very badly.
I mean, I hate them all. Even if it's a good game, like when you guys would be playing like the vehicle building game in Discord, I would always be the first one to stop playing because I don't know, it just doesn't interest me.
Well, I mean, and I'm even thinking about like sandboxy games that are outside of the realm of like vehicle building, like something like RimWorld or even Project Zomboid, where you just there's a world, you spawn in it, there's a whole bunch of shit to do, and it's your job to figure out like how to survive within that framework. I feel like that's what this game was touted to me as, but it was just extremely poor at doing it.
Yeah, I was just trying to use that as a point into like the vehicle building and like the temporary nature of it. makes it feel not worth doing.
Yeah, I'm trying to nudge the conversation in a certain way because I feel very strongly about this. I wrote like 2 paragraphs about it.
Well, I'll ask you a question directly from the template. How did the mechanics support a clash with any thematic elements? Because I think that's kind of striking at what you're trying to explain.
Yeah, sure. So the games I mentioned earlier, things like RimWorld, Project Zomboid, fucking shit like Dwarf Fortress, whatever. Those feel like true sandbox games where you're never really nudged towards like a correct solution. Um, you just kind of get thrown into something and you're meant to experience like unintended outcomes. So there's a lot of like high failure, unscripted dynamics that don't have any hand holding because you're just meant to live in that interplay between like scarcity, survival, permadeath, whatever. So those games to me feel like they're true sandboxes in a way that I felt like Tears of the Kingdom was both described to me and was trying to emulate, but it falls so flat on its face because of its like weird kind of gaming Nintendo constraints. So like so in my estimation, for like a game to have like a true emergent freedom, you need to have things like no clearly intended solution path. You need to have rules that apply globally and consistently, like a willingness to let the player just do whatever the fuck they want and let them fail, break, exploit things, whatever. This is where this game fails horribly, by the way. Systems that don't assume any like player friendliness and moments that would surprise both the player and the developer if they were watching you play. And so Tears of the Kingdom has certain aspects of this, but like there's a level of possibility that's just so fractional from the gold standards of this genre. And I don't know, maybe it's not fair to compare Tears of the Kingdom to those super sandboxy games because that's not what Nintendo was really meant to do, I guess, because they have to keep things kind of on rails a little more, but it's really annoying that they gave me this incredible sandbox, like they gave me this whole sandboxy world that felt like I could do fucking anything, but as soon as I like poked outside, it turns out that it's just a tiny little fucking crystal globe. And that is something that just bugged me to shit about this game.
I mean, I didn't like the game, but I definitely see how other people would really enjoy all the things about it because I think Zelda has always been made because it's like an adventure game, and I think it's like pinnacle adventure style game. You just have to want to get past the tedium and have the patience to interact with the game in a way that doesn't frustrate you.
Here's the thing. If I played this game when I was the same age as when I played Ocarina of Time, I would think it was the greatest game ever made. But I'm old and cynical.
I think I don't want to delve into this too much because you guys aren't fucking Zelda girlies like I am, but I think there is a component that is holding this game and probably Nintendo at large back, which is something you just kind of touched on softly, I think. But I'm kind of realizing that all the shrines did have somewhat of a like intended solution to how to solve them. You can get creative with them, but there's definitely an intended solution to them.
Yep.
And as you were describing, like you and Sesh were describing it being like the king of adventure games or whatever, I've realized with Breath of the Wild, they absolutely wanted to move more towards that, like undebatably. That's why the dungeons in Breath of the Wild and less so in Tears of the Kingdom are so like non-existent. And I'm realizing now, like these games as a puzzle game is just a holdover of what the series is, and it's probably not necessary to what they actually want to accomplish, and it's causing them to trip over themselves.
So I actually think much higher of Tears of the Kingdom than I do Breath of the Wild. Or excuse me, I meant that the other way around. I think much higher Breath of the Wild than I do Tears of the Kingdom.
Same.
And the reason for that is Breath of the Wild was clearly just like even though I hated some parts of it so much that it made me quit, like it was such a like swing for the fences experimental move, and there is so much like mechanical clutter in that game that makes it turn into something very interesting that actually does give you like that layer of freedom that did not feel as present in Tears of the Kingdom. Um, and a big part of that is just how like fucked up some of the mechanics are by design or by virtue of them being so experimental and weird. And um, I think a big problem with Tears of the Kingdom is that they did like two things at once. Like they tried to have their cake and eat it too, where they both exploded the scope of the game and made everything obnoxiously huge, but also tried to do what Breath of the Wild didn't, which was like have a more traditional Zelda like find the temple and then go find Ganondorf structure. And so they removed some of that mechanical clutter and some of that freedom, but at the same time made the game huge, but at the same time try to zoom it in to make it feel like a more classic Zelda game. And it just doesn't work. You just can't do everything at once.
Considering, sorry, go ahead, Sesh.
No, you're going to. Unless you're going to move on. If you're going to be on the same topic, then yeah, go ahead.
I was going to be on the same topic. I'm just curious because of what you said earlier about respecting Breath of the Wild more. How much would you hate Tears of the Kingdom if I said, aside from the sky and the chasm, obviously the map is almost entirely identical?
I don't think that would make me hate it anymore. I mean, it's narratively consistent. It's just a matter of how you interface with the mechanics within the world that change how the world feels.
Wait, so are you saying that the map is basically the same between the two games?
Yeah.
Other than
Yeah.
like the obvious stuff that gets
Yeah,
added,
other
like
than the sky
upheaval-y
and
stuff.
the depths.
Yeah. And I mean, like on the ground, obviously, there's all the holes in the ground and the upheaval
Yeah.
around the castle and shit.
So,
But, yeah.
in the past, things that are similar to that don't bother me, like the Yakuza series, they literally reuse every single asset possible, but they do that because they have shoestring budgets. It's a little weird to see with Nintendo, though. Like, Nintendo money, I feel like you can kind of do a little more.
I think it,
Yeah.
I'm like both. I'm like a double-edged sword on it because I think it's really cool if you love Breath of the Wild and you played it for 600 hours, and then when you play Tears of the Kingdom, you're like, "Holy fuck, this is here instead of this," or something, or like, "Oh, what this is what it looks like." Like, I think that's really cool, but it also feels lazy to not do something different. So, like, I think both are
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
absolutely right, because if you like go into people who are way deeper into the Breath of the Wild lore than I am, then you'll be like, oh, like there was this place on the map and
Yeah.
we never knew what it was about, and now we can
Exactly.
go under it and it's about this, and like, yeah, that's cool, but yeah, it's lazy.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's both. Go ahead,
So
Tom.
like I think that kind of summarizes how I feel about this game in that like long rant I just went on, which is that like I think like I don't know if this is a commonly held opinion, but it's my held opinion, which is I don't actually think Ocarina of Time is a good game. Uh, it was a highly experimental game where they swung for the fences and then they tightened things up and made Majora's Mask, which is a much better game because they learned lessons from Ocarina of Time. They like extracted what worked and they kicked out what didn't work, and it feels like they absolutely did not do that in Tears of the Kingdom. Like they did the opposite. They kept all the bad shit and kicked out all the good shit.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like Breath of the Wild more, and I think it's mostly just because of the vehicle building being the central part of Tears of the Kingdom, and I just hate that in games as it is. And like Tom said, it was more of like a risky thing to do. This was just kind of like building on something they had that they already know worked, and then to me, tacked on systems that made the game basically just worse in every aspect.
I don't know, with that particular component about the vehicle building, I just don't think we're going to find common ground there because I
Yeah.
enjoy it quite a bit.
I mean, that's
fine.
what I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's definitely not for me. And if it's something that someone likes, this game is like perfection. Like I completely understand why people think this is like their favorite game of all time and like the best game of all time. I completely understand that. It's just not for me in the slightest.
I am about ready to move on unless you guys had anything else you wanted to talk about here.
Nope. Game needed to be about 25% of the size, and I think the gameplay would have sorted itself out.
All right, Sesh, go off about the menus.
I mean, it's just like I don't even need to be like that specific about it. Like, there's nothing about interacting with the UI that felt good ever. Literally, not once. The only thing that felt like okay was when you look through the scope and then you pin something with the right stick. That's like the only thing that didn't feel like complete ass cheeks. Like the fact that like I still don't know if you can drop an item while you hold it in your hands. I don't know if that's a thing. I tried Googling it and I gave up after 10 minutes. Is that a thing you could do?
Like after you already like
You put the items in your
I don't know what
hands.
buttons you guys press, but
Like
like
I'm
as if
holding
you're
the
about to
items.
throw it.
No, so
Are
like
you-
I'm in the menu and then I press like X and then I put 3 out of 5 into my hands and then the fucking white indicator shows up that looks like it's about to be where I'm gonna drop it. What button do you press to drop it?
Isn't
I
there a
press
button that shows up
what
at the
is
bottom?
the for me, I just pressed it's whatever it highlighted as cook, but that's only if you're interacting with a
Yep.
like a heated pot. If it's on the ground, I think I pressed the same button and you would just drop them all on the ground in that reticle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally couldn't figure that out, and Google just telling me kept going to the D-pad menu to drop items. That's the only thing I could find, and I was like, okay, I give up. I don't know how to drop things when I hold them.
But you can also, if you're in the menu, like say you're holding 3 apples, you go like you unpause, you're like, oh shit, I don't want to cook these. You go back into the menu. There's a button to reduce how many apples you have. Like maybe you accidentally went to 3
Oh yeah,
instead of 2. You could hit a button, go down to 2. Or
yeah.
go
I just
down
wanted to
0.
drop things, and like, it was
Oh.
such a fucking nightmare to like drop things that I was holding. That I just got so annoyed. It was like the first time I interacted with that was like when the game teaches you how to cook food by dropping it on the ground, and like
So-
I was just I didn't.
Wait, how did you fuse things?
I went to my inventory and I dropped it on the ground. Like I used the
Oh,
D-pad.
yeah.
I did D-pad drop on the ground because I think there's some shortcut to do it, but I fucking couldn't find it again on Google.
That's
No,
what
that's
I
how
did.
I do it.
Yeah, it's, like that's fucking asinine as fuck. That's crazy. They figured this out in the 80s to just do it in the menu.
Yeah, I actually found a way to avoid that, but it required like a intentional like foresight because what I would do is if I knew that I wanted to fuse something, I just wouldn't pick that thing up. I would just fuse it from the ground because it was
Yeah,
just easier.
it's
it was like
crazy.
5 less steps.
Which is also funny because there's a lot of, I don't know if you guys saw these, but when you fight a boss monster, it usually leaves behind some interactable object that you can't pick up.
Yeah.
So you have to fuse it then and there.
Yep.
So they knew that was a thing that you could do or should do.
Yeah, I don't that left D-pad menu like it's so bad. I wish it wasn't even there. Like I wish they had to design it without that being in the game.
I don't understand why the quick menu on the D-pad isn't like a 3x3 grid or whatever, like it is in the main menu.
I don't know why it's there. It just makes the game worse, I think.
Man, you know what drove me crazy about the D-pad menus too is that because Nintendo are like functional dumbasses, they never keep their button hotkeys like consistent. So every time I would go in there, I would like accidentally resort everything and then have to like figure out what the fuck I was even trying to do because I pressed sort instead of drop or whatever the fuck.
Yep.
God, those menus are bad.
Yeah, the fact that you can like I'm sure late game it probably takes you like 5 minutes to scroll from left to right and like your just general inventory, the whatever D-pad that was, D-pad right or whatever. Like I don't even understand how that's an acceptable user experience.
Oh yeah, if you're not like hitting the sort button to religiously
Yeah.
get wherever you need to, it's gonna suck. And then even then, it might suck because you might need to like use the one item that you haven't used in
Yep.
a day, and then it's gonna be all the way at the end of that sort.
It's crazy. It's crazy bad.
I
would
will
expect
give-
that.
oh,
No, go ahead, Ben.
no, go ahead because it
I
sounds
was
like
gonna
you're
say,
gonna finish.
yeah, I was gonna say I would expect that a solo dev to do that, and then people would get mad at him, and then he would spend 6 months finding a fix for it. The fact that Nintendo does it is the most inexcusable shit I've ever seen in my life. Your turn.
Yeah, I just wanted to give the UI some credit. It's beautiful.
Oh yeah.
That's like the actual assets used in UI and the panels, the level of transparency they use in the
Yeah.
panels, the font choices, all that is like immaculate. It's just the actual usage of
The
the UI
UX,
is
yeah.
ass.
It's the UX,
agreed.
not the UI.
Yeah, because I had written here that like the art and the music and the actual like UI presentation is easily the high point of the game. Easily, not close.
I mean, I hate that Link has a cell phone. I think that's fucking weird.
I
But
mean that is weird, but I mean it looks good.
It kind of goes all the way back to like Wind Waker with the Tingle Tuner, though.
I mean, that was weird too. That was extremely fucking weird.
Hey, I have a UX question real quick. You know the blood moon thing that happens and it like respawns all the
Oh, that
enemies and all
shit
that?
is
God,
so
I hate the
annoying.
blood moon. I hate the blood moon. It shouldn't have been in this game.
Oh man, I don't even have to ask this question because I only saw it one time, but I was gonna ask if the cutscene plays every single time.
Yes. Yes, he
Oh,
does.
it's Symphony. It's fucking Simon's Quest.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Oh my
It's
God.
Castlevania shit. Like, and everyone knew that shit was bad. Then why'd you do it again?
So the reason why I asked about this specifically is because it does it fucking everywhere. Like when you go into the shrines, I had to skip every cutscene. I had to wonder if the ending of the shrines cutscenes were different until I think I asked you, Ben, and you were like, "Nah, skip all that shit." Why? Why make me sit through all of those bullshit tedious cutscenes every fucking time when there's hundreds?
I mean, unfortunately, Zelda has been wasting everybody's time since Ocarina of Time. Need I remind you of like why?
Yeah,
You want to know what it was? A Link to the Past, and then you go.
Yeah, but the difference with Ocarina of Time and I guess probably all the modern Zeldas is that you hear that, I don't know, maybe probably a max of like 30 times a game, probably. There's 1,000 Koroks in this game.
And it's funny because they also haven't learned their lesson because, Sesh said Ocarina of Time. I think the most obvious example I can think of is back in Twilight Princess, where I think your game's memory would like completely disintegrate when you restarted the game. And so if you pick up a quote unquote new item, like, okay, first time you're playing, you pick up red rupee, and then you turn off the game, you come back and play tomorrow, and it plays the same animation to pick up a fucking red rupee. Like, why?
Oh God, that's so annoying.
Yeah, I remember. That's also why people would use Twilight Princess to hack their Wii's because that memory shit.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
like literally, imagine if in this game, wait, does it do this when you pick up a new item? It's like question mark, and it does the little pop-up menu.
Yes.
Yeah, imagine if it did that every single time in Twilight Princess, and that's how it felt.
Yeah, that would be horrific.
Right, yeah. I mean, it's just Zelda has always been about like those pauses constantly. Like if you shoot the eye in fucking Ocarina of Time, and the game would pause, and it would zoom into the fucking gate that it was about to open, and it would go, and then the gate would open, and then it would slowly pan back over to Link. Like that's all Zelda has been since Ocarina of Time to me, and it's so tedious and annoying.
I feel like that's just a Nintendo thing, though. I feel like that's
Odyssey's fast.
Outside of probably Mario games. Mario games are probably the exception to that. But like, I mean, think of the Chozo statue in fucking Super Metroid, right? Like, Nintendo does not have a problem with wasting your fucking time.
Yeah, but everything else about Super Metroid was not really time wasting. Even like the felt good. It didn't feel like opening a chest in Ocarina of Time for it to be the boss key again.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. I'm not gonna do too much damage control for Nintendo here because
I mean, and again, like I think if you have less experience with games, you like things like that more. It's just when you have more experience, you like it less because you're like, I've seen this before. This isn't fucking new to me. Stop wasting my time.
So that's
How
like good.
I want to dig into this just a little bit because again, I said at the start, this game came to me when I was at a point where like I had time to burn. I was at Cass's place, like just waiting on her to get back from work. I was getting to work an hour early and just playing in the lunchroom. And this game is a mobile game. How much of this feeling of time wastingness is because we're not playing it on a mobile game? Would you feel it the same way if you were waiting 3 hours at an airport?
Oh yeah, because I could get 40% more gameplay if it was quicker. It just like everything that I would complain about. It's extremely nitpicky, but like it's just slowing the game down. It's basically and not in a way that matters. It just is wasting my fucking time.
For me, it is a matter of the sheer volume of shit there is to do. Like if you made me sit through the shrine cutscene every single time, but there were 30 shrines, that's fine. But there's like over 100. I don't know the exact number. But there's too much. There's too much for them to waste your time at the same time as you're interacting with it.
Oh, this is just me, but as someone that likes multiple games that have like cutscenes and sometimes even unskippable cutscenes, Like to me, I feel like the concession of the devs providing this skip function is good enough. Maybe
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like maybe I was about to say insensitive take off. Like there's nothing insensitive about that. It's just like I don't know. I just feel like if they provide a skip button, I feel like that's just the solution, and it's
Yeah,
fine.
Aren't they implying with that you're supposed to skip it? You know, because like you can't skip it the first time.
Oh, I actually didn't know that, but it makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, I don't think there's any cutscenes you can skip when it's the first time.
I don't think that's true. I think you can skip all of them.
I skipped every cutscene after the Wind Temple, so
I remember very, very quickly mashing the X button during the very first shrine, and it didn't let me skip it.
I don't know about the
And
shrine one, but like the story ones, you can.
Maybe story, yeah, you might be able to in story. Maybe I can't remember. I might be making that up. I don't know.
And to Ben's point, like if you can skip it, it's fine. I don't mind the cutscenes as much. I mind like every time you do anything, the game like stops for 4 seconds to tell you did it. Like when you pick up a new thing and it's like it's like, oh, another thing I confused. If I could just go A and go through it, I would mind so much less.
yeah, like think about every single time that you walk up to a shrine. You walk up to the shrine, you press A, it plays a little animation, you press skip, and then it puts you right in front of the door that you're obviously gonna fucking walk into, and then you walk into it, it plays another animation, there's a loading screen, and then it loads, and it tries to play another cutscene that you skip, and now you get to play the shrine. Why not just let me press A outside the shrine and just fucking put me in there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the sense of wonder thing.
Yeah, I think that is probably true, and it's a shame that the shrines don't feel more wonderful. Rather, they feel extremely copy-paste. Like, if they weren't lazy devs, because again, they copied like fucking everything about the shrines from Breath of the Wild. Why not make it so that they're like each shrine is at least slightly flavored on the inside based on the region that it's in?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
they
that'd be
have
awesome.
that where like you have like if you go to the Death Mountain area, a bunch of them are themed around lava. But why not make it so that some of the walls are like being overtaken
Yeah.
by the mountain and shit?
Yeah, that
I mean,
was true for like the Sky Islands too, I think.
I think
Is
a big
it-
limitation is that it's on the Switch.
Yeah, that's also
Yeah.
kind of true.
Is
Yeah.
it unfair to say that the shrines are like less than the sum of their parts? Like I feel like if you took the same game that we played and the shrines were just replaced with just they were only fast travel points, I feel like the game would be better.
Here's
mean,
what I
if-
would do.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say earlier. Where I feel like the puzzle aspect of this game is that being the shrines and the temples is just a holdover from the legacy of what Zelda is.
For
Mhm.
sure. You're completely right.
Here's what I would do with the shrines. If I was Shigeru Miyamoto, I would literally take the amount of shrines that they have. I would divide that number by 4. I would make them weightier. I would make them cooler, and then I would give a full heart at the end of each shrine.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big problem. Like, once I did, 5 shrines, and then went and got the stamina upgrade, and I was expecting to get a bar, and it gave me a fifth of a bar, I was like, I'm never doing a shrine again.
Yeah, I was sick of them by the time I did like 10.
Like, some of them are okay. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but I would definitely wish that they were cooler.
I mean, I don't want to get into this too much, but the ones in the starting area, they're like you guys probably did most of the tutorial ones, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
they're
like those
really-
all fucking suck. Obviously,
those are all obviously god awful, but even when I would like intentionally go and explore random corners of the map, like they were still not engaging.
Yeah, no, there's like the floor is the tutorial ones, and the ceiling is like I don't know, like what's an example from Ocarina of Time, like burning a web with a stick. That's the high.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're getting off of the actual like art and shit. Unless you had something you want to say, Ben.
No, it was like what I was about to say was also not related to the art and shit.
I mean, I think so. I could be the first on art. I think this game looks worse than Wind Waker did. I think this game is like Wind Waker but worse looking.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
When-
interesting.
Oh,
That's
now,
interesting
wait. Wind Waker looks amazing. Let's
Yeah.
not say
Yeah.
that like it's an insult to the game necessarily.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing. I was like, I feel like that's more of a compliment to Wind Waker than it is
Yeah.
shitting on this game.
And the Wind Waker, first of all, I think is the best 3D Zelda by like a lot. And yeah, second of all, I felt like this game was just really trying to be like Wind Waker in a lot of fucking ways. Like more than Twilight Princess, and more and like kind of Skyward Sword, but like not really. Like it really was just trying to be like open world Wind Waker. And Wind Waker was already kind of open world.
Yeah, it was definitely.
I never played Wind Waker, so I guess I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really have a point of reference.
Wind Waker is like basically this game, but without all of the shrines and the shit you do between it. Or
Yeah.
it's
It
like
sounds amazing.
all that is shrines. Like 90%. Yeah, Wind
Yeah.
Waker is a great game.
Yeah, I actually, until Jordan said the words Wind Waker, I forgot about Wind Waker. That's the last 3D Zelda I ever played, and that game is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
And you want to know the real shit of it, Ben? All right, so the traveling in that game, you go on a boat and you go from island to island, right? And the only real way you can move slowly in the boat, but you have to prop up a sail in order to move, and you have to change the wind direction in order to like go from different island to different island. But in that game, you can just put up your sail, face the direction you want to go, and then you're set. You don't have to hold sprint at all.
Yeah, and you remember like the biggest criticism that I mean, we're all fucking boomers. We're old enough to remember when that game came out, and I remember browsing the fucking GameFAQs forums and people bitching so much about the like amount of sailing that was in that game, like the amount of time you spent
Travel
sailing.
time.
Yep.
I wonder if you could compare Wind Waker to Tears of the Kingdom, how that would shake out, because it would be insane, I bet.
I do think that like I don't think Wind Waker. I don't want to jump too much deep down into the legacy of Zelda because I have a lot that I could go on about this. Do you guys want to go down this topic, or do you want to stick to the framework?
Oh, I don't care.
We could talk about it a little bit. That's fine.
Because I think like basically every single 3D Zelda game throws out a lot of what the previous one did. I think the only exception to that is Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
But like Ocarina of Time, obviously, like it took Link to the Past's like framework, the structure. You know, you have 3 dungeons in the normal world, then you go to the dark world, whatever, and like the elemental theming of the dungeons, yada yada yada. But it turned it into a 3D Zelda game, and it, encapsulated a lot of the standards that became the norm from there on. Wind Waker, again, it tossed everything on its side. You know, you don't have a landmass that you're traveling to. You have the sailing ship, and it's become pseudo open world. I think it's a very nice cross between the two.
Yep.
And then Twilight Princess, I mean, it's really just an Ocarina of Time clone, but I think that the tone of that game is so different that I could qualify that as throwing everything on its head. That game is closer to Majora's Mask in tone than any other game, and that's why I like Twilight Princess so much.
For sure.
And then Skyward Sword sucks, so I'll skip that.
Yep.
Then there's Breath of the Wild, and that obviously threw everything on its head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
agree.
Nintendo isn't boring when they come to making new mainline games like that. It's just this is like the first time they've made a sequel where I feel like they didn't build on it.
Yeah. So like when you're describing that, that's kind of the same way that I feel about something like Final Fantasy, right? Where like every single Final Fantasy game iterated on the previous one. Like the only exception to that, no, there's really not one. So like every single game they tried something new. They would throw out some old shit, they would bring in some new shit. Sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't, but it was always something like fresh. And as Jordan was saying, this is the first game where I felt like they didn't. They added the vehicle shit, and again, whoop-de-doo. And other than that, it felt like a step backwards from Breath of the Wild, which is a game I already didn't like.
Yeah, like compared like the Galaxy 1 to Galaxy 2, where it's like, oh, they took everything that they learned from Galaxy 1 and then just made a better game. This is like, oh, they took everything that they learned from Breath of the Wild and then just changed a bunch of shit, and then it's not really better.
Yeah, I expected you guys to not like this game, but I did not expect that take. I thought that this game just improved everything Breath of the Wild did.
I like Breath of the Wild because again, it was like a very
Yeah.
highly experimental game, and there's a lot of jank in that game, and I can appreciate jank. There's just like it's like the death by a thousand cuts thing, where it's like there's just like this. There are a couple mechanics in that game that are just so unforgivable that I couldn't play it.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, it's basically what Tom said. Like, they went for a risk with Breath of the Wild. This was just like copying, and it should have been iterating. And like they did iterate, but they iterated for me in the wrong direction again because like everything that they added, I think basically just added tedium and not actual like senses of wonder or adventure. But I hate sandbox games. I hate building vehicles. Like this game is not made for me at all. There couldn't be a game that I think that's made less for me than Tears of the Kingdom.
I mean, considering you don't like the vehicle building stuff, like obviously you're not alone in that opinion among a broader audience. Do you not consider that a risk?
Not really. It feels very obvious to me because like look at Nintendo. Like they made Nintendo Labo. Like of course they're gonna make something where you build fucking vehicles in it. Like I don't think they should have stapled it to Zelda. I think they should have tried to buy Banjo Kazooie and make Nuts and Bolts 2 or something. But
Agreed.
like yeah, that's not surprising for Nintendo at all. They love that shit.
Here's what I would ask you, Seth, to like kind of turn that on its head is what about the vehicle building in this game is like experimental or fresh or interesting that hasn't been done in another game 1,000 times?
No, I never called it. Like I'm not implying that it's original. Like there's a reason that we're all referring to it as Banjo Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, and I agree with that. All I was asking Sesh is whether or not he considered that a risk because I don't think he's alone in that opinion. And
well, when I say something's
received.
When I say something's experimental, it's kind of synonymous with risky, I would think.
I don't think it's much of a risk. Like I don't think the Nintendo would release that if it was in a state where they think people would hate it. It's just that again, like there's not a way they could have made the vehicle sick unless it was just like everything was pre-made and it was always there for me. Like if they removed all the tedium, then I would think it's sick. But I don't think that's like so far from the vision that it never would have clicked with me. But I think that they just love kind of that experimental creativity and like building and shit. And I think like Nintendo Labo was really like where they were like, fuck yeah, even though like who asked for that kind of thing. So I don't think that it was risky for them to do vehicles.
Yeah, no, and don't get me wrong. I just wanted to ask the question because it was at the front of my mind. If they decided to really take a risk and introduce a 3-day time limit to Tears of the Kingdom, I probably would have loved it even more.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. I think that there wasn't much risk with this.
Yeah, agreed.
And I give it a lot less credit for that because I give Skyward Sword more credit because I think that game took risks, but it did so many things fucking wrong that it's like it was worse than Breath of the Wild. And like, yeah, don't do that. But I appreciate that game risk more than what this game did. Sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
You're good.
I don't want to get into the other games too much. I fucking love the combat in Skyward Sword. Okay, that game is a fucking clusterfuck mess, but the fucking combat in that game is sick.
I mean, just the reason why I hate all Zeldas that are 3D basically is because they're all just built on a layer of tedium, and Skyward Sword did not fix that at all. It made it worse by like.
It's the first one to have the stamina system.
Yeah, if every game that uses stamina to run, I fucking hate. Like, I will always hate that about a game. No game has ever done that to a point where I'm like, wow, this is engaging and interactive. I will always hate that. Let me move fast without encumbering the player, please. Thank you. That's it.
Yeah, you know what I've just thought that Tears of the Kingdom probably is. When did this game come out? 2023?
Yeah.
Yep.
Tears of the Kingdom is Nintendo saying, you know what? Let's get some extra money for the Switch 2 development and release like a game that is like so obviously going to be a slam dunk with our core audience that they will lose their fucking minds playing this game and everyone will eat it up. And that to me, Tears of the Kingdom is a business decision. Let's just say that.
I mean, I don't
Skyrim. They can re-release it on the. I'm sure they probably have. I haven't followed the Switch 2 at all, but it wouldn't surprise me if it's already on the Switch 2.
I don't. Do you have to rebuy it? I don't know.
I bet you have to rebuy it.
I know this.
I have no reason to believe that other than that it feels right.
I think it runs on 60 FPS on the Switch 2, which is cool.
That would be pretty noticeable because I play on the Switch Mini and the performance dips are noticeable as fuck.
Yeah, so we once again heavily deviated from talking about the art.
I mean, that
so
was intentional. Seth warned us.
Yeah.
Did.
So let me just say my piece on it, which is that, like I said earlier, easily the high point of the game. Granted, I was kind of cheating because I was emulating it and playing it on 8K at 60 FPS, but the game is absolutely fucking gorgeous at every angle, in my opinion. Like, I actually do kind of agree that I think Wind Waker might look a little bit better, but that's just on the basis of art direction, probably. Yeah. But like, I think the cell shading in this game is fucking beautiful. Like it's got some buttery, smooth, like color banding and gradients, and I think it just looks fucking incredible. Granted, don't know how much of that was 8K 60 FPS, but
I think it was a lot of that.
I only slightly disagree with Sesh. Actually, the reason I wanted you guys specifically to do the first temple, the Wind Temple, is because I think the biggest highlight of my game on my first playthrough was when you get to the very top of the hurricane and like all of the music stops and you get to see everything top down because it's the highest point on the map. And I think, I don't know, there's like a sunset or something, and it just looks fucking gorgeous. And then you dive down into the eye of the hurricane, and the music starts up, and it's the fucking Stormwind arc. Like that reveal and that artistic direction is fucking flawless, I think. And the only thing that comes close is something that Ben experienced, which is when you do the boss on Death Mountain. That boss is fucking sick.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree. I think the one thing I can find no fault with in this game is definitely the art and the way it looks.
Wait, are you saying that boss that you fight on the plane was good?
I don't remember if I like the game mechanics, but the feeling of what you're doing there is fucking
Okay, that's
awesome.
fair. It was epic. It was epic enough for me to take a screenshot of it.
It's fucking
but
sick.
I would not describe it as something cool.
That's funny.
No, I'm strictly speaking from
Spectacle.
artistic. Yeah.
Yeah,
because like Death Mountain is the one thing you can see from like every single point in the game, and the payoff when you get there is fucking awesome. Anyway.
Yeah, and I just pasted it in Discord, but I think this is what you were talking about, right? It was cool enough that I took a screenshot of it. The when you first enter the Wind Temple.
Oh, that's the first one I mentioned. The second one was the Death Mountain thing.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of that too.
Do you have
somewhere? Yeah, it's like Moragio, right? Is that the boss's name?
I think so.
Oh, you guys can continue. I'll find it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, again, I didn't think the game was that beautiful because I thought Wind Waker looked better, and I was kind of disappointed in that regard because everybody says, "Oh my god, the game's so beautiful," and then I was like, "It's really yellow."
It is very yellow. That's true.
Like, because Wind Waker was so contrasting and like crazy looking and awesome looking, and this game was just kind of like yellow, and then green, and then gray.
I don't know that I would necessarily 100% agree with that because I do actually really like the color palette of this game, but it is definitely very yellow. But I like the contrast stuff, like when the blood moon starts rising and shit. You get all the blacks and the reds in there and shit.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, like specifically everything related to the gloom with like Hyrule Castle at the center. You can like the peak of Death Mountain and stuff like that is great. It's probably why everything is so green and yellow outside of that, which I agree. I don't love it. Specifically, I think the least, with reason, the least artistically inspired stuff is probably the chasm. It is all just fucking white and gray and fungus and gross.
I think that's the point, though. That place isn't supposed to. I mean, like, and they have like the cool reds where like the enemies glow red and everything, right? So I don't have any issue with like the chasm as much. But again, I just thought the game like didn't look as good as Wind Waker, which I thought was disappointing because that game's 24 years old. And partially that's because the Switch sucks. Like you have to give them credit for that. But I think Mario Odyssey looks fucking awesome, so it's not that much credit.
Did the music? How did you guys feel about the music from a non-nostalgic standpoint?
It was fine. I mean, I'm kind of the style of the music in the game has kind of worn thin on me to where it kind of went in one ear and out the other. But I mean, it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean the lack of music in a bunch of places was butt cheeks. Like, I mean, Zelda has some of, like, the coolest fucking music, like, town music, specifically, like, Kakariko Village, and, like, I could list this basically forever.
I feel like that's... Yeah, I feel like that's just something that all open world games kind of have, though. They kind of have to emphasize the environment and only play music in, like, very specific areas. So I guess that's just... I mean, it's still technically a negative if you don't like that, but it's kind of just, it's what the game is.
Yeah,
but I think if you go to like a village or something, it should have like, I don't know, some like sick. That's the time that you want to play a fucking intro, is when you go into like a new place that's cool and you can see what the fucking people are doing. Not when you walk into a shrine for the 750th time.
I agree 100% with what Jordan's saying, and here's the question that I would posit. Uh, can you guys hear the Wind Temple theme in your head or the Colgera boss battle theme in your head? Probably not. I
If you
can't.
if you play it to me, I could tell you where all the songs show up, but I can't tell you. I can't hum it right now. No.
If you did that, I probably wouldn't be able to tell.
I could probably tell you the first time I played the game, but I played mostly with the sound down. So
Yeah, that's kind of my point though, which is that like the most memorable songs in Zelda are always when you're inside the temples or fighting bosses. IMO.
Oh, towns. I think towns are top.
Mm, yeah, I mean Kakariko Village, yes. I guess Gerudo Valley probably counts.
Like it's
Yeah,
everything's sick.
that's fair.
It's every time you're in a
They're-
town, it feels so good to be in a town in Zelda.
they're memorable, but I feel like it's neither of those to me. To me, it's always the songs that you learn and you play, like the Ocarina song.
Those are great too.
Yeah.
Like a fucking Bolero Fire Blaze.
Yeah,
Bolero of Fire is actually the first song that came into my head when I was thinking about songs from Ocarina of Time.
the fucked up part about this game is where I'm trying to think about like where you fight enemies and like it plays the combat music. I'm thinking of like how does that go? And I'm thinking of the Ocarina of Time fucking like and it's like it's not that, but what the fuck is it? Like,
Yeah,
I can't think of what it is.
like I feel like Nintendo has just kind of adopted this like full orchestral like style with a lot of strings and kind of like almost like a dreamlike sub theme a lot of times. Like every Nintendo game I've played in the last 5 years sounds like Fountain of Dreams from Melee.
I wish it did.
And I just mean the style.
Sure.
And like I said, that's just worn thin on me at this point.
If you want to know what probably is impacting that pretty heavily, it's because I think the only success of Skyward Sword, because remember, Skyward Sword failed so miserably that they had to reboot it with Breath of the Wild.
Mhm.
The only thing that was successful about that game was that it had the 25th anniversary orchestral soundtrack, and it was fucking incredible. And that was the only good part about
Yeah.
Skyward Sword's release.
Yeah, I mean, and then the opposite of that, of sound design, I think this game has fucking fantastic sound design.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
it's the only reason I don't fully despise the game. Like, not even kidding. Like, the sound design is like perfect. Like, whenever I tell you guys like the game has shitty sound design, this game does everything that those games should do because it's fucking perfect. Everything is like original sounds. Everything sounds fucking great. All the sounds sound rewarding. Like, it's perfect.
Yeah,
I think
agree.
I think it is like worthy of quite a bit of praise because I think like maybe not every combination of weapon and fusion item, but pretty much every fusion item has a unique effect,
Yep.
sound effect on a hit.
Like, it's not even close how much they put. Like, basically every other developer is shame with sound design. Like, they're so fucking good at it. But
Yeah.
it's such a bummer that the music sucks because like it's like those two things feel like they should be like close, but and for this game to me they weren't even remotely close.
I don't even know if it's that the music sucked. It's just that it was just kind of like,
Sparse.
yeah, well, yeah, that too. It just wasn't memorable. It was just kind of white noise.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to Ben's point, it kind of needs to be, but I still think like when you get to like these big like benchmark, like when you first get to whatever the fuck Lookout Keep, I don't remember what it's called. When you get there, it should give you like that, like when you get to Hyrule fucking Field in Ocarina of Time, it like gives you the introduction and plays the fucking sick ass song and shit. Like when you don't do that, when it's just shrine cutscenes that you're skipping and nothing's fucking sick about it, it feels terrible. But if you make the introductions cool and give them like music and give them life, then that's when that shit is cool. And this game never
See,
did that.
I actually disagree with Ben's point that the music should like take a backseat to the visuals because like I think there's plenty of open world exploration heavy games that have like good ambient music when you're just running around.
Outer Wilds.
The Witcher 3. Yeah, Outer Wilds is a good one too.
Yeah.
I never played the Outer Wilds. I don't really remember the music in Witcher 3, but I'm not saying that it shouldn't exist. I'm just saying that like there's got to be sections where it's
Yeah.
like not even playing at all. For example, you know what I mean? Like certain
I agree.
exploration
Mhm.
sessions,
When you're just
Yeah,
running
yeah, yeah.
around,
like
for
need
sure.
to hear the environment.
See, but even when you're
Agreed.
just like running around, I still think it's like it's good to have music. Like World of Warcraft, you spend a lot of time just running around doing fuck all in World of Warcraft. But the music in that game, at least in vanilla, I don't really remember much past that, is like actually surprisingly good.
Well, let's give a shout out to my boy, my favorite City of Heroes. Even now, some of those fucking songs slap.
I mean, RuneScape,
True.
like any games like this that are just like these like tedium-based MMO games, like they all have good music, and that's because you fucking have to if you're making the player do nothing. Like even Ocarina of Time, when you're in Hyrule Field, which is like kind of really nothing. It's like this game scaled down a shitload, and like how this game like probably should be designed a little bit, but like the theme of running around Hyrule Field is so good that you don't really care that like it takes you a while to run to Death Mountain or whatever the fuck because you're jamming out.
Yeah. And back then, honestly, the scale of that game felt so crazy that it's
Right.
like if you're a 10-year-old playing Breath of the Wild, it probably feels similar to how I felt being a 10-year-old playing
Exactly.
Ocarina of Time.
There's no imagination there though, like because it's actual vast versus like this feels vast because they did such a great job of designing it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys have anything else you wanted to mention in this section? Just to be clear, before we move on, if we do, I have almost nothing I want to talk about in narrative and themes. If you guys want to talk about character story, whatever, I have a couple
do,
things.
very
but
briefly. It's
I'll
a very short thing.
I'll read the 2 paragraphs that I wrote, but they're not super in depth.
All right, in that case, let's move on. Who wants to start?
Go ahead, Ben.
I don't really have too much to say. All I wanted to say is that I had to look this up, what was made first, the Natlan chapter of Genshin Impact or this, because they're literally the same story. And for what it's worth, this one obviously came first and China stole everything.
Yeah.
It's literally the same exact story. I mean that I can't use the word literally
Is it-
more correctly.
Is it even the like spoilery stuff that you don't even know about, Ben?
Probably.
Probably like the Zelda thing that you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is obvious spoilers for a game you guys are never going to continue. Is
Zelda
one of the
turns into a
characters-
dragon or whatever.
Zelda turns into a dragon.
And
Okay,
then
I
she
guess that
dies.
doesn't happen. But there is a character that goes into that is from the past, is in the present, and it's the way the game looks. It's in the same exact environment. There's characters that do the same thing. They have to collect the rocks from their ancestors to be like the success. It's the same fucking story. It's literally the same story.
Oh, that's funny as fuck.
That's great.
It's always funny to hear that, and that Nintendo never tried to go after them, and it's because they're in China. Like, the only reason why Nintendo can go after Power World is because they're in Japan. Like, literally, because China will just go, okay, and? Like, they can't do anything to them.
It's
That's
just crazy.
fucking hilarious.
It's the same
Yeah.
story. It's the
It's
thing.
crazy.
I was cracking up the entire time. The story cuts into place. I was like, I've seen this before.
I mean, when I first played Genshin Impact, when it was like brand new, I was like, holy fuck, it's just Breath of the Wild.
That's pretty funny.
That's all I have to say about the story, by the way.
I think it's terrible. I think I fucking hated every part about every voice actor. I hated Rauru. I hated everything about him. I didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, so voice acting right off the bat, awful, terrible. It's so bad it's so bad they even got Matt Mercer to phone it in, which is pretty funny.
I think he did fine on Ganon. But I
He
only
just
heard him
sounds
say,
like Matt
a
Mercer.
paragraph.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's literally just speaking as himself.
Sure.
Here, I'll just read what I wrote. It's not particularly exciting. And also, I didn't want to get too judgmental about the narrative or story or plot or world building or whatever of a game that I only played maybe, I don't know, 15% of or something. But there is one key point of the narrative of this game that I fucking hate. And all right, I'm just going to read what I wrote. So I take some amount of umbrage here, but I'm also coming at it from a completely outdated boomer perspective of what I think the narrative of a Zelda game is, because I haven't really played any since Wind Waker. I don't like how fucking yappy all of the NPCs are. I remember in Ocarina of Time that it was a meme how much the stupid ass owl would speak, but in this game, every single conversation is like the owl times 3. I think the older Zelda games did a lot with less, and I liked that my imagination was able to fill in a lot of the gaps that were left behind. I never personally thought Zelda games thrived on their narrative so much as they did their world building, but in this game I feel as though they jammed too much narrative in, or at least dialogue. The world building felt okay, fine even, but I don't feel I explored enough of the world in the time I spent with the game to have a good opinion on it. I think I can sum this up by simply saying that Zelda games left room for wonder to evoke mystery through suggestion, but Tears of the Kingdom saturated me with too much chatter slash yapping. Everything's a side quest or a monologue or a repeatable dialogue tree, which doesn't really kill the pacing, but it does completely blunt the intrigue. I liked Zelda NPCs when they occupied a tone-setting role and not an expository one. Ocarina of Time, which I don't even like that much, lets you infer lore through iconography, environment, or occasional odd moments like the owl, the ghosts, the temples. But Tears of the Kingdom treats me like a child and seems scared that I won't, quote, get it unless it spells everything out to me.
Yeah.
So you want to know the real nail in the coffin for a lot of that, and how I'm going to pivot to my discussion of the story.
Yeah.
So I'm sure a lot of the story you're talking about is everything leading up to the temple, and then the cutscene, like with the sage and everything, right? That's probably the majority of what you're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
Every single cutscene after each temple is identical.
Yes, it is. Oh my god!
Every single one.
I thought I was going crazy.
I'm
thought I
not
was going
saying
crazy.
I'm not saying like they are similar. I'm saying the dialogue is cut and paste, and you replace the names.
I literally just held my hands in the palm. I held my head in the palm of my hands because it's just another shitty cutscene that they are just recycling and reusing over and over.
Wait, why did they do that?
Why?
It did change every time, but it changed just for the one specific like companion you were with. But everything else about the cutscene was 100% recycled.
Yeah, it is completely templated.
That's crazy.
It is very bad. It is by far the worst part about each of the dungeons when there's such a high point otherwise.
That's so bizarre.
Like you could literally just predict exactly what's going to happen in the cutscene for like the third or fourth when you get there.
That's crazy.
But
I would have hated that so much.
Yeah, it's terrible. But especially when you consider like how sick some of the dialogue after like the Ocarina of Time temples are, or like Majora's Mask. But I don't consider any of that part of the story because I'm just throwing it in the trash bin and skipping all the cutscenes anyway. When I talk about the story, all I talk about are the cutscenes that you get from the Tears of the Dragon. Did you guys get many of those?
Yeah, I actually, in direct opposition of everything I just said, I actually kind of liked those.
They're actually quite good, especially for a Zelda game, I think.
Yeah, they're the only sections of any Zelda game I've ever played that actually felt like they were really well written.
Yeah, I only got one of them, but it was definitely the only part that was like actually intriguing, that I actually remembered the words Tears of the Dragon.
And if you guys were wondering whether or not it's like linear, it is not. The cutscene that you get when you go to that particular Tear of the Dragon is tied to that Tear of the Dragon, and that is the cutscene you'll get, and they are not linear. So with that in mind, I don't have a specific question written down, but how do you guys feel about that like presentation of a non-linear story in that kind of means of discovery?
So wait, let me make sure. Can you run that past me again? I feel like I didn't quite understand what you meant.
So if you there's like 10 or 12 cutscenes or something like that. If you play them from 1 to 12, it'll tell you a linear story, but that is not the order that you'll find them in. They are tied specifically to the Tear of the Dragon that you go to.
I see. So like I found the first one with Impa, like the tutorial one. So and that wouldn't be number 1 out of 12. I kind of felt like it was, but in theory, like the next one I find might be like 6 or whatever.
Yeah. You would go from I think that cutscene is like Zelda meeting Rauru and whatever the other lady is.
That's what.
But the next one could be spoilers when Ganon is actually in the past and he kills Raru's wife. That could be the next one that you find.
Yeah. See, I found 4 of them. I can't tell you which 4, but I did go out of my way to find them because I actually did enjoy them. But I don't mind telling a narrative that way where like you get everything out of order and it's your responsibility to put the puzzle pieces together. I guess it's kind of weird if what you just described, which is you may find the one of Zelda meeting these people and then the next one is Ganon murdering her. I guess that is a little awkward maybe, but in general, in a vacuum, I don't mind that way of telling a story.
You know, I think it's fine. I think it's cool. I think if you like what's going on, I think you'll love shit like that. Especially if you get them out of order, because then you're like, what the fuck, kind of thing.
It's probably a good idea to curate that order to a degree, or at least like lock you out of like major emotional or story beats until like a particular part of the story, like the main story or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I like
And
doing that.
I believe it does do that with one component. I might be making this up, but I think it's true, where you have to get all of those in order to like figure out that Zelda is the dragon and get the Master Sword.
Yeah.
Like I'm saying that that's the part that's kind of locked. That story moment is the part that's locked behind all the other
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, I don't hate it. And that's evidenced by the fact that it's the one aspect of the story that I interfaced with and actually enjoyed, I guess.
I was gonna say, I think if that's just how the story was and they didn't fucking waste their time beating me over the head with the shit that they tried to, I think it'd be a lot better.
Yeah, I think if you just removed all the dialogue for everything leading up to the temples, probably would have been better. Although I actually remember liking the story for the Lightning Temple, but anyway,
Yeah, me too. That was actually my favorite temple
yeah, that
for
one's
what it's
great.
worth.
Did you guys want to do anything else here? Or did you want to move on to questions?
Nah, I'm good. I don't have much to
Yeah, we
say
can go
on
to
that.
question.
Okay, first question I wrote, titled Understanding Internal Logic. I love games that develop a system of internal logic for how the world of the game interacts with itself. For example, Outer Wilds quantum mechanics, literally all of Baba is you, etc. Tears of the Kingdom has this type of system for a plethora of interactions, such as how monster parts interact with fusion, how fire on grass creates updrafts, lightning being attracted to metal, the way cooking works. Were those systems fun and or intuitive in Tears of the Kingdom, and were they internally consistent?
So I didn't think that they were fun at all. I thought that they were like maybe intuitive, but the UX was so bad that like I didn't get it. It was often felt like because so a big thing I like about games is when you clearly know I can't do this yet. You never felt like that in this game. This game always felt like you don't know how to do this yet, and it's because you're an idiot and you didn't try to waste some of your fucking limited resources to try this thing. Um, and yeah, I hate that. But I again, like if you have the sense of wonder and you have the patience to be able to get past all of the frustration and everything, I could see people loving that, but I don't. So yeah, I don't like that the game was so free flowing and the bounds weren't as easily defined. I think that that's a negative to me.
Ben.
Um, this might be a symptom of me holding W, but I felt a similar way about not wanting to experiment too much because of like limited
Yeah,
resources. Because there were like certain things I wanted to do where like if I'm like in a nice area, I wanted to use like the fiery like components like and attachments to my arrows mostly to just like one shot shit. But then I also needed to craft the food and because I held W, I didn't do a lot of like a I guess resource collection, and I just felt like always strapped. And it's also why I kind of stopped playing because when I got to the lightning boss, I was like so out of healing shit and just like stuff in general that I was like, if I want to beat this boss, I'm gonna have to like fast travel out. I have to Google like farming points, like how can I get
yeah.
like I actually looked a little bit of it up, and I just didn't want to do it. But like I would have to find like certain spots where like trees would spawn, collect all the apples, cook the apples, and just like wait for the apples to respawn. I'm just like, I don't want to do this, so I just didn't.
I mean, yeah, I think your experience is like what I hate about it. But if you like something like that, then you fucking love it, right? Like I think if this is the only game you play, you think it's the best shit ever. But if it's not, then I think you just bounce off it because it's just fucking tedious.
Yeah, see, like the crazy thing for me is that like I'm not one of those people who like shies away from using resources. Like I'm not the person that's gonna have 99 megalixirs in their inventory at the end of the game, right? And even in spite of that, like I would use resources to explore in a way, and I mean we all know how that panned out, which we'll talk about in the next question.
Outside of Thomas, can I summarize your guys' opinion as the systems were fun, but they didn't give you the resources to experiment in the way that you would find fun?
Maybe like there's some like I like there were like certain ways that you could exploit the systems. Like when I found out that there was actually a difference between like one-handed and two-handed weapons, I started experimenting with like having a one-handed weapon as a base and a two-hander as like the top part. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool. But like, and I also liked the interactions insofar as like if they were easy to trigger, which was usually like related to just the weapon attachment. But like, and unfortunately, what I'm about to say is like it's like the majority of like your interactions with the systems is that like it's just too cumbersome. Like, I just don't want to do all the setup required to have like the
Yeah.
little bit of prescribed fun that Nintendo wanted me to have.
Yeah, I'm with Ben 100%. Like, it. I think the system should be fun in theory, but they fucked up so many other systems around those systems that they're not fun. So like, yeah, theoretically they're fun, and if I use Cheat Engine to have 999 of everything, it would definitely be fun. But the fact that like you're limited and everything is tedious makes it not fun.
I don't know how much I want to delve into the intuitive part of this question, just because you guys didn't like. It sounds like because of the first part, you didn't get a lot of experience on whether or not it was intuitive. Would that be correct?
I don't think it's that intuitive because it's like basically what Ben said with like the rewind, the pieces, the relics that like fall from the sky and shit to go into the sky. I don't think like you need to have intuition to do that, but like most players aren't going to do that because it's such like a foreign style of thinking. So I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question.
I guess what I'm thinking of, something that rubbed me the wrong way when Breath of the Wild came out is how they kind of just like spoiled a lot of these like quote unquote internally consistent systems, like fires creating updrafts that you can fly up, and like in no world would that make sense, and it
Oh yeah.
also feels like weirdly inconsistent, and that just, I don't know, there's something about that that bothers me. Like it's kind of like Thomas mentioned before, it's kind of a case of like you get to do this when I tell you get to do this, not you get to do this because you figured out how you're going to do this.
Yeah.
Like what's to stop me from, I don't know, throwing a bunch of like bananas onto the ground and then I throw a fire fruit on it and that creates the updraft. Like, why
Right.
not?
See, so like I was avoiding kind of answering the question in that way because I thought that that was like too nitpicky and cynical. But so like I try to compare this game and that style mechanic to like Metroidvanias, which are like my current like favorite fucking style of games, which is like your Void Strangers and like your Witness and all that stuff, where like the rules of the game are always there, but you don't know how to interface with them. And I don't know why it bothers me so much for this game, but I love it in those games.
I agree, and that I don't want you to hesitate from answering in that way because that's kind of the vibe that I'm trying to get from the question. I think my issue is that there's no real. I don't want to say tutorial. I don't want a menu to pop up and tell me how to do it. But this game's version of tutorials is like if you get to a shrine and it shows you that pouring water over lava makes stone slabs instead of like. It's just maybe it's just a case of the depth not being there in order for them to expand on it in a tutorialization kind of way. I'm not sure.
So I think my answer to this question actually might explain that to a degree. I didn't really find myself engaging with the systems of this game in a way that hadn't already been done in a more interesting way somewhere else. Again, the miles wide, inches deep problem. Um, I don't know if I would necessarily call them intuitive, but I didn't really think that they were like overly obtuse either. Like, um, I'm staying very conscious of the fact that I played very little of the game when I say this, but there was never, ever, ever, ever a moment where I was in doubt of what I needed to do or like what I could do. Um, and so I think the comparison to something like Baba Is You or Outer Wilds is I wrote the word ludicrous because and here's kind of why I think that the big difference between this game and those games is because games like Baba Is You, Outer Wilds, Void Stranger, etc., 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 those games construct their entire narrative arc around the way that they tell you the rules and then recontextualize those rules. But in Tears of the Kingdom, those systems they're just additive. They're like little sprinkles of salt on an otherwise like giant juicy steak, but they're not transformative. So like in Void Stranger, the puzzling and the intuition, that is the steak. So in those games, they end up producing these huge like aha moments. But in
Mhm.
Tears of the Kingdom, it just kind of made me go, oh, well, that worked, and that's not as interesting, I guess.
I mean, I agree, and even to me, even more than oh that worked, it was more like that's how that fucking works. Like I wasn't happy to find out that if you burn a fucking pine cone, you go up in the air. Like fuck
Yeah,
off.
yeah, that one doesn't make much sense.
Yeah, that one pissed me off like actively. Like that's like I was actively like this is not intuitive and stupid as fuck.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I was not making the comparison from those other games to this because, like, Tears of the Kingdom is good at it. I brought them up because I think Tears of the Kingdom is very bad at it.
Yeah. I think it's like what Tom says though, like because in those games like built the game around like you don't know that you can do this. Where this game, you probably like Ben said, you would never find out that you could jump on that fucking thing and rewind in the sky. Like you would never fucking figure that out unless like some like that just seems such like crazy thinking to me. Whereas if you don't figure it out in those puzzle games, you don't beat the fucking game.
Yeah, it's almost like hiding quality of life behind
Yeah,
like weirdly niche interactions.
exactly. It's like you're rewarded for experimenting, but like again, that just like adds to tedium because if you experiment and it doesn't fucking work, it feels bad. So like, and you're using resources to fucking waste them. So you have to load a save that you forgot to save, and like, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, like a bad example of that is when you use a bunch of your Zonai devices to make a vehicle and the vehicle just doesn't work for whatever reason.
and you're like, God damn it, I didn't save. I thought this was gonna work for sure. Fuck, I just wasted X amount of whatever the fuck. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel good at all.
Yeah,
Which I think it's sorry, go ahead, Ben.
yeah, like when I talked about using a rocket, every time I made a vehicle with a rocket, I used exactly one rocket, and I made sure it would work with one rocket. Period. It was actually very important to me because I was like, I don't know how to get more of these.
Yeah, I mean,
Again, I do feel like a lot of that tedium is relieved because you have two different avenues of getting infinite resources, one being the dispensers and two being the auto builder.
for sure.
But those are still just like if you're going to give those as options, why are you adding the annoyance of having to do the other things in order to get it?
I mean, that's what it is, right? They give you solutions for all of these problems, but it's like they shouldn't be problems. Like, I think I'm getting ahead of myself, so I don't want to say friction yet. I'll wait for that one. But yeah,
Well, you know what they should have done? They should have made it so, okay, there's not, like, you can have an auto builder, that's fine, but give us another ability that literally just, when you find a new Zonai device, it adds it to a list of Zonai devices, and you just spawn as many of those motherfucking things as you want.
yeah.
Like, why not?
I agree. That'd be awesome.
I never played nuts and bolts, but I imagine that it wasn't fucking hard to get the resources to build the fucking vehicles.
Okay, I think we talked that one to death. Is Tears of the Kingdom true to its vision of creative freedom with regards to exploration, and what systems got in the way of that vision? Why or why not? I think we all know that Thomas wants to talk about this one.
Absolutely the fuck not. This game made me realize that Nintendo are extremely obstructionist in the way of having fun. Like, do they make fun games? Sure. But do they very, very, very much want you to have fun in the way that they dictate? Yes. Abso-fucking-lutely. This game made me feel like Shigeru Miyamoto himself was reaching across the Pacific Ocean to slap my hand and say, no, we don't have fun in that way in this game. And this goes back to the feeling I was talking about earlier, where I felt as though my hand kept getting slapped whenever I was operating outside of the fucking snow globe of the arbitrary boundaries that they set. And so, like, everyone in this channel knows my experience with the Wind Temple, which is I didn't progress the main storyline to the point to where you get the, what's it called, regional phenomena. And so I didn't know that I had to go to whatever it's called, Rito Village, to talk to the Birdman to get the Birdman. I just thought, okay, well, I talked to this person, she told me about these sky towers, I'm gonna go check out these fucking sky towers. And then I progressed through the mountains to a point where I see this big fucking cyclone up in the air. I'm like, I want to go there. So I figure out if I can. Turns out, yes, I can. Does it require like a little bit of clever paragliding without the fucking ability that the bird gives you? Yes. But eventually, through a small degree of arduousness, I do manage to climb all the way up to the Wind Temple. I drop in there, and I can't do shit. I can't do a fucking thing. I can't interact with the panel that's there. I can't turn on the fucking wind turbine that's there. And eventually I fucking ask Ben, like, what I can do here. And he says, oh, you need to use the ability from your companion. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't even know I needed to do that. I went through all of the trouble of exploring this fucking thing. I couldn't even get the fast travel point, and then I had to go back down, get the bird, come back up, and then when I tried to fast travel back up there, he says, "Oh, sorry, we can't do this." I had to go back down and fucking grab him because I fucking broke the goddamn way that the game wanted you to experience the climb. And that was pretty much it for me with this game, was realizing that like the way that I play these games that are heavy on exploration is by just looking at something and figuring out a way to get there. And typically in these games, like you will be rewarded for that, but in this game I was so fucking punished. And that just gets back to the dictatorial way that Nintendo wants you to have fun in their games, and that is the way that they intend you to have fun, and I fucking hate that.
I think it's really weird that they let you get up there.
I still think it's just absolutely an oversight, and it sounds like
Yeah.
that can happen with the Fire Temple as well, and that's absolutely just they didn't think about it, and considering their vision of the game, that is a fucking mistake.
Yeah, I mean, because in fucking Wind Waker, they built a fucking barrier that went so far outside of the bounds of the game to make sure that you couldn't get the Ganon's Tower earlier that it took people who speedrun Wind Waker like 24 years to figure out how to get through it in a very broken fucking game. In this game, all they didn't put any of that thought in whatsoever. It's crazy.
I'm just so surprised that they didn't hard lock behind anything. Like maybe the
I agree.
ships to jump up and get to the top of the eye aren't there. Like they could have done a million things. It would have been so easy and fine.
So many things.
There's one thing they had to do. One thing only, and that is when you first get to like the section of the broken sky city or whatever it's called, there's a little bird guard there who like talks to you and says something, and then you have to glide across to the next platform that's there. Just make that platform too far away to paraglide to. That's all you had to do.
Just put a wall there. You can literally just be an asshole.
The problem is like that wouldn't even be good. You would need some physical obstruction because like
Yeah.
even if you couldn't paraglide there, you could strap a fucking rocket to a piece of wood and
Yeah,
get there.
exactly.
Do you know
Like,
how like
you can do all of the rest of the game before doing any temple. You could get Auto Builder, figure out how to build a hover bike, have 10 battery charges, and fly all the way up to the top of the map if you wanted to.
I mean, you just need to obfuscate the entire climbing thing by like a wind wall, and then when you get fucking whatever the fuck the stupid fucking goose's name is, then he can blow it away. That's it. And if you don't get the goose, you can't blow it away, so you just can't interact with it. So you go, "Oh, I guess I have to do something in the story to get here." Ta-da!
Or just like put a fucking NPC at like a couple of checkpoints that just says like, "Oh, you probably shouldn't do that. This you look at how dangerous this is," and just gates you from being able to like progress forward. There's a million and one ways that would have alleviated the heartache that I experienced
and
doing
like
that.
I feel like there's the I mean this wouldn't completely eliminate the issue, but I feel like it would have helped it a lot is that you just hard lock the critical path to make sure every single player gets a regional phenomena main quest unlocked before they go out into the greater world.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's really important to get that quest.
So that's actually a really good point because they absolutely told you things in the reverse order. Like they should have given you regional phenomena and then they should have told you about all the sky towers. Because the sky tower just like incentivized me to be like, "Ooh, look at this. Holy shit, I can fly this far up in the fucking air. Well, I want to go find more of these motherfuckers." And that's exactly what I thought. And I just went from each sky tower. I just went from one to the other over and over again.
You want to know something even worse about that is that they knew that was a problem, and the reason I say that is because the sky tower that is closest to the Wind Temple doesn't go as high as all of the other ones. It goes like several units lower. So they clearly knew, okay, we don't want them to use the sky tower to get to the top of the Wind Temple early, so let's soft lock that kind of. But they knew it was a problem, but they didn't fix it. It's fucking crazy.
And even if like consider it's definitely an oversight, right? Because like they wouldn't have like the when Tom fast travels up there, he has to like go back to the bottom to reclimb. But like so it's clearly just an oversight. But you could still make it so if you climb all the way up there, like the fast travel is activated. Then when you find the guy, just add a line of dialogue where it's like, "What? You already got there. What are you waiting for? Let's go." Like they can do that. It's 2023. Fuck off. It's just a crazy oversight to me in a open world game that's a sequel to an open world game that they would miss something like that.
It's
I
just
think it might be the only Zelda game where this is a thing that can happen too.
100%. They would always take such crazy fucking metrics to make sure you couldn't do things out of order if they didn't want you to.
well, what's your guys' answer to this fucking question?
It's quite less detailed than yours. I guess I'll just read it off. So I would say I would say that it does meet its vision of creative freedom as far as actual exploration goes, not game or narrative progression. Like the actual exploration I thought was pretty great with all the toys and tools that they give you. They're extremely versatile and can let you get into places far before you're supposed to be able to, which saying that after the story we just heard is well, it's what I wrote down, so that's all I'm going to say. It's what I wrote down, and it's what I experienced at least. I don't think that anything really got in my way or in the way of that vision, but I also feel like my experience might be heavily colored by the fact that I just held W the entire way. Like I did not go out of my way to like help anybody or do any of the side quests. I think if I opened the game right now and looked at like my side quest list, it would be every single side quest that I unlocked would just be it would just be in that list because I didn't do any of them unless it was on accident. And like yeah, so yeah, I thought it was pretty great, but yeah, it's just very. I enjoyed myself, I guess is all I can really say.
Go ahead, Sesh.
I'll preface the question with basically like the opposite of what Ben said, of that I fucking hated everything about it. However, I do think that it did a fucking fantastic job, and the game is really all about, it's not about the reward, but the journey for how you got there. Like I think that's like the summary of the game, because like everything, it rewards you everything like poorly, and if you want like a slot machine reward, like me and Tom are used to in like ARPGs and stuff, where like you pull the lever and then you get a reward for it, this game fucking sucks. If you want like to where you just fucking build a rocket and then you get to something really fucking fast or in a really cool way or in a really like unforeseen way that you didn't think would work, but then you spent 20 minutes and then you fucking finally made this vehicle work, it's like the best game fucking ever. It depends on what you try to get out of enjoyment. And I think if you're going for that style, I think there's like almost no better game, like maybe like Gary's Mod or something, but like games like that. But it's a fucking hand. It's one hand you can count games that compete with this game.
There is one thing I want to touch on that you spoke of. You talked about rewards. I can't think of a single reward that was worth it.
That's what I'm
Worth the
saying.
resource that I
No, that's what
used
I'm
to
saying.
do it.
That
Yeah,
is
yeah. I just
exactly
wanted
the
to.
point.
I wanted to reaffirm what you
Exactly.
were saying, but I just thought about it and I was like, because I wanted to make that clarification because I did just
Yep.
say that I enjoyed the exploration, but I do also remember at the same time that the rewards, like I played Final Fantasy 14 for years. I can't imagine a game that has worse rewards than that one. This one gets a little close, too close for comfort.
That's funny.
Yeah, no, I'd piggyback off of what Sesh mentioned. Like, I love this game. Thomas's experience is going to bump it down a full number grade, just so you guys know. There's a little spoiler there. However, I think what you said is true, where the game is about the exploration and not the reward. And I think this game, at least compared to Breath of the Wild, because that is much of the lens how I viewed this game, because I love this game compared to Breath of the Wild. It gives you so many more tools than Breath of the Wild. Like, I just think about going back to Breath of the Wild after playing this game, and it would not go well. Like, I would get to the first cliff where I like accidentally fell off and realized I couldn't ascend, and I would alt F4 out of the game immediately. Like, it just adds so much, even if it is a little bit tedious to like build your vehicles or like to manage the stamina, whatever. It gives you the tools, and at the very least, I think that is the vision of the game. But also, it's 2023. Why couldn't you give us real rewards?
Yeah, and just to like build on what you said with like the Breath of the Wild. I mean, you're right in that I don't want to play Tears of the Kingdom, and I appreciate what Breath of the Wild was because it was so new, but I definitely don't want to play Breath of the Wild. Like I want to kind of clear that up where
Yeah.
I don't like Breath of the Wild. I don't like playing Breath of the Wild more, but I appreciate it because it was such a deviation from the previous versus this game was just kind of copying the previous. But I definitely think this game is more fun to play than Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, you could like objectively state that Breath of the Wild is like a more
Obsolete.
impactful or whatever game, but
Oh, yeah.
it is obsolete after Tears of the Kingdom.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
I've decided that I hate the exploration of this game because of what you guys just said. I just thought about, and it really does have to do with the rewards.
Yeah.
It really pisses me off because like you would spend like an arrow and like a bomb fruit to like complete something, open the chest, right? And then it's like plus 5 arrows.
Yep.
That shit pisses me off because I spent so long trying to find like gear. Like I spent so much of the game
Mhm.
without a shirt on, for example. And all that shit is so expensive in stores. You need to like get so many rupees. Just put those fucking clothing
Yep.
items in the chests.
Yeah.
Like what the
100%.
fuck? It's such an obvious slam dunk. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Oh, you want to know something funny? You guys probably didn't find any of this. There are several sections with a very long build up to them. Like I think of this one area that's on the surface map, and it's like this big spiral, and it helps you like deduce what you have to do in the chasm in order to like go around the spiral, and it's like this big combat gauntlet, and it's like kind of cool, and you figure it out, and it's fun. And at the end of that, there's a chest in the middle of the spiral, and you get the Wind Waker hat. And
That's pretty cool.
That's
that
actually
is-
cool.
Are you serious? That's wild.
Yeah, it was
That is every single optional like side area in this game. That is not the only one. That is all of them.
Yeah, but that's something that like is like tangible that you're not just
Yeah.
gonna like expend in the next 5 minutes. Because like
Yeah. That's what I
Yeah,
want. I
wish,
want cosmetics.
yeah, I wish rewards were like that. That's all I'm saying. Like,
Yeah.
I wish, like, instead of. So here's the thing. I don't actually know if this is the case, but is the intended gameplay loop to farm those rare minerals so you can sell them to buy the gear? Because that shit is insane to me. Like, who would do that?
Wait, what?
I think that's one way to skin the cat, but I think really the loop is just do whatever you want and eventually you'll have enough money to get that.
You are.
yeah,
You know how long
do
it's going to
side
take to save
quests.
that much up?
Do
Oh,
you know
fuck
how
that.
many
Okay, that's a
hours
good
people
point.
play
I
this
didn't
game for?
actually. I did not finish a side quest. I don't know what the
Yeah,
rewards are.
every like side quest or NPC I helped or whatever gave me like some amount of rupees.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
I
that
had
probably would
like
help a lot.
200 and I've played like a third of what you did.
Oh, I spent like 2,000 rupees, and the way that I got them was that I just sold like all the
Oh, that's so
rupees and
funny.
shit that I had. Because
Yeah,
I
no,
was
mine-
like,
you can-
I need the
and
money
that's
now.
optional.
You know, the crazy thing about the reward structure of this game though is that it doesn't even give you rewards where you would expect them. Um, like to Ben's point, right, about finding gear in a chest or whatever. Like, is there literally anything other than like a decent spear in the fucking Wind Temple? Is there anything? Anything at all? Did I miss something? Yeah, I didn't think so.
The only piece of gear I found that was nice was because I was Googling how to start because like I almost did what Tom did with the Sky Tower thing, but then I looked like this doesn't feel like the next thing, so I Googled it or whatever. And then in the walkthrough, it's like you can jump off this ledge to fly into this fucking area that you shouldn't be in yet, and then just run past all the enemies and pick up this shirt that gives you like 4 defense, like Royal Guard outfit or something. That's the only fucking gear I found, and I never would have found it if it wasn't an IGN guide telling me to go there.
Good lord.
I wish I found that item.
Yeah.
So here's the thing,
Exactly.
like when I stopped playing, I had like 8 hearts because that's like that's like the minimum maximum you could get, if that makes sense. Because I never chose a heart container as a reward. I always chose stamina. So 8 hearts, one for each, one extra one for each shrine. I had 8 hearts in the Lightning Temple, and I still was like getting killed in one hit. So I think with like if I had any gear that ever had the text plus armor on it, I feel like that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I don't think even in my first playthrough I was ever at a point where I wasn't being one shot by everything.
It's so silly, man.
Wait, so that's actually what's supposed to happen?
I mean, probably not. I don't think that was happening to Keith and Josh because they actually do the side quests, and that's probably important. But
Yeah, it
that
sounds
was
like
definitely
it.
my experience.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
I remember-
there is a reason. There is a reason the mechanic is in the game where if you're at full health, you can't be one shot. There's a reason that's in the game.
Oh, I
For
didn't
sure.
know that that was the thing. But here's another thing. This is how little I interacted with the side quest. When I first like opened the chest and saw that I got rupees, I was like, holy fuck, there's money in this game. I didn't even realize it.
Well, in any case, we're kind of jumping around. You guys want to move on to the next question?
Sure.
Too much friction. Between 3 different modes of stamina, long and arduous hikes between objectives, and a frequently punishing combat system, among others, how did the friction imposed in Tears of the Kingdom affect your experience? Was it too much or too little? Thomas.
So I don't know. I have a complicated relationship with this question because like I don't feel like the friction was too much. I f- I felt like the friction was too frequent, if that makes sense. So like let me describe my experience with the first 15 minutes of this game. Like after the intro with Zelda and you get onto the Sky Island or whatever. My first experience with this game is jumping off of where you talk to the Rauru guy for the first time, apparently missing some amount of weapons that were up there. I don't know. I just straight up didn't see him, didn't pay attention. I don't know. I didn't see him and I didn't get him. And so I spent probably 20 minutes literally running around looking for a fucking branch. And so I guess that's not the right way to describe it. I ran around, I would look for a branch, I'd be like, "Oh, thank God, I can finally hit these enemies and then get a weapon." And then I would hit the enemy and my fucking branch broke, but the enemy didn't die. So then it's like, okay, well, I guess I need 2 branches. Except it took so fucking long to find 2 branches that I never actually killed an enemy until after the first time you go up to the fucking Temple of Time, and Rauru tells you to like go do the shrines or whatever. So like that is an insane amount of extremely frustrating friction because it's like I got punished so fucking bad because for whatever reason my eyeballs didn't register that there were some weapons like right at the top of that island that I couldn't get back to after I spawned. And so like that is an example of too much friction, but where it's too frequent becomes like the insane traversal distances when you have no stamina or like really shitty mobility tools, your weapons breaking all the fucking time, having to constantly experiment with cooking because I mean, I don't know what you guys did, but I did what is probably the intended method, which is literally just throw shit in a pot and see what it makes. And that uses a lot of fucking resources. I had a lot of like hentai censored fucking food in my inventory because I was just like, well, let's try this, let's try this, let's try this. And you end up with a lot of bullshit that doesn't really do anything. And so that's kind of what I mean by it never felt like it was too much. It just felt like it was all the time. And so, like, friction by design works in games like this where overcoming hardship is the point, but I've never felt like overcoming hardship was the point in a Zelda game. Like I feel like that clashes with the like heroic tone that the game takes or well Zelda games in general take and like the color palette and it just feels like really fucking cognitively dissonant. Like I'm playing a fucking Zelda game. I'm not playing like fucking Haven and Hearth. Like it doesn't feel like tension or growth. It just felt like this constant attrition that was just slowly eroding my goodwill as I fucking died to some goblin with a soup ladle.
I also just want to briefly mention, because we only played this up to the first temple, I believe a lot of those pieces of friction do get like pretty functionally alleviated, like especially once you know how to actually do them. But that does not help the fact that all of us played, upwards of like 15 hours, and this was still the experience.
Yeah. I mean, like, I already know this game alleviates every single bit of friction, but it does it at a rate that's way too slow for, like, players like us. And, like, I'm pretty sure the way that we played this game, and especially the way Ben played this game, is the completely Nintendo wrong way to play this game. And if you told that to, can't remember the guy's name, whatever the fuck his name is.
Koji Kondo.
No, that's the music guy.
I know.
Kenji Iwata or something. If you told it to him, the game designer, he'd probably throw up like on you. If you said all I did was start the story and then just fucking do the story, and I never even helped that guy with the sign, he'd probably just die on the spot. Like you're supposed to play the game like so slow, and like I feel like you're supposed to have like 15 hearts by the time you do the Wind Temple.
I think so too. I think that
Yeah.
maybe was intended because, like, I don't know, everything was killing me in one hit. It just didn't feel right. Yeah, I just didn't know how to like make that not happen.
Narratively, Link feels like a bitch in a way that he never has ever in any game ever. Like when Tom said like the hero story, like Link felt like a little pussy the whole time. Like when Ganon owed you at the start, you're like, Jesus, Link sucks, and then you never feel better because the goblins and everything killed you. So it's never like a hero story. It's more like a how's this guy not gonna fail?
Also had the distinct feeling that, like, you know, maybe on account of the exploration, like the vast majority of mobs that you find in the open world are harder than the bosses, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's why I didn't fight them. I literally avoided them because I just would just do the mental calculation in my mind, right? It's like I would use X resources to kill these guys. What are the rewards? Is there even a chest? Even if there is a chest, it's probably not worth it. I'm just gonna do what I normally do, and that is just run past them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true. Like the fucking boss of the Wind Temple, I think I said in the channel, it was like that boss like was mechanically really cool. Like I liked what I had to do to beat it, but it was so trivially fucking easy. Like I beat it on my first try, like without any conception of like what to do or how to do it. It was just like, oh, okay, do this and it's dead. I died to one of those fucking living talus bosses in the overworld probably 15 times, and which is 15 times more than I died to the boss of the fucking Wind Temple.
And I think it's just another case where they're tripping over themselves because, like, there are a lot of, like, legitimately, like, objectively extremely, like, even outside of the tuning or when you would find them, difficult enemies. Like Lionel's are a fucking Dark Souls enemy, just straight up. But I feel like they don't want to make the bosses difficult in this game because they are the hard block for the story. And I just feel like you can't have both of those things at the same time.
Agreed.
Yeah, real quick, I feel like, at least the boss that I'm stuck on, the Lightning Temple boss, I feel like this is the hardest shit imaginable.
I honestly just
maybe I'm just that bad at video games, and I might just be, but I feel like
I distinctly remember that boss is like entirely cheesable with the lightning thing. I don't know though.
Maybe, but I don't know. I think I'm just bad at video games.
Ben, I also think that you're taking like the minimalist approach to try to beat the game with the least amount of resources possible, which is very bad. That's not what the game wants you to do, and also very bad if you're not trying to do like basically what Seth said of like figure out the cheese strats so that you don't get hit.
Yeah, I feel like even if I did play the game as intended, I would need the cheese strats because like I'm just envisioning like what you have to do in this fight, and if all I had was like more hearts, it's not going to help. Because it's not, and it's hard to explain without like spoiling the fight mechanics. But like, it's just I don't know. I just find it very, at least this one specific fight, very difficult.
I mean, it's like what you said though. You would have to like leave and grind arrows or whatever, right? Like if you played more of the side content, you would have so much more resources available to you that it would probably be a lot more trivial.
I did basically nothing but side content, and I have infinite resources.
Okay, yeah, that's the opposite of my experience. Where like, oh my god, like I felt like I was playing like a fucking survival game.
Did anyone else need to answer the question? I kind of lost track.
No, I don't think anyone did except for Thomas, right?
I definitely
go ahead, Ben.
Oh yeah, sure. So just to reiterate the question real quick, it was about the friction related to like all different systems such as stamina and combat, and how did it basically how did I feel about the friction? And to be honest, none of the friction really bothered me at all outside of weapon durability, because I'd already put like thousands of hours into Genshin Impact, and it's literally just the same fucking game, like 100%. Like when I got to the Lightning Temple area, or like just the desert in general, and I saw like the mounds of sand, I was like, oh, I know I need to use wind to clear out the mounts, because the same thing was in Genshin Impact. So
that's funny.
The friction as it existed didn't bother me any because I was already used to it, I guess, from another game.
That's really funny.
That's fucking wild.
Yeah, I mean, so to answer the question, because I was more responding to Tom when I responded, I think it's definitely way too much, and it's alleviated at way too slow of a pace, and the friction was also alleviated in a style that we weren't trying to play the game in, which is just kind of run around and get more of the resources slowly but surely. And it felt so bad to turn in the fucking 5 shrines and get a fifth of a stamina bar, which equated to not even a full second of running. It's just too slow for me.
Yeah, it was more for climbing, which I appreciated.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why I cared about it. And it's also why, like, if I were to make the game, I would have just eliminated the stamina cost for sprinting, period.
Yes, exactly.
It also doesn't feel great when you're fully maxed out on stamina and it takes like 5 fucking seconds to fully recharge.
Yeah, exactly. That part is so annoying. Especially like, and I fucking hate when you run out of stamina, like fully run out, and then it recharges slower. I think that's a shit mechanic in every game too. Because it's
so
like,
annoying.
is it a fun mechanic to watch the bar and then let go of the button right before it's done? No, it's not fun. It's never fun. It's tedious.
I mean, it wouldn't have fit really, but and this is why I asked like way earlier in the week about like if they had done something special with the stamina, like was there a special mechanic? Because like there are other games that have that exact stamina meter, that mechanic, but they do special things with it. Like in Final Fantasy 15, you can hold the sprint down, and if you release it right before it depletes, it instantly refills to max, and you can just keep sprinting forever. Like if and it's like
Yeah.
this mini game you can play, and the fact that there isn't something like that in this game is unfortunate. I guess it's not necessary, but like I would have liked it.
I mean, my opinion on that, because like a lot of games with stamina for running have that, like even Dark Souls has that kind of thing in it. I think if you're going to have stamina for sprinting, you're better off with that system than without it. That doesn't make it good.
You're better off with it than without it, and then what?
You're better off with it than without it, but that does not make it a good thing.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is because, like, I'm guessing from a game design standpoint, they probably want stuff like that so that you don't just, like, tie a rubber band to your controller and then walk away while you walk forward. That's probably the reason. And to, like, keep you, quote-unquote, engaged as you're moving from point A to point B. But it is kind of lazy.
I mean, it just makes me want to punch myself in the dick. If you do what Ben said with Final Fantasy 15, I'm so much more engaged because every time I miss that, I'm like, God, fuck it down. I'm so slow now. In this game, it's doing the same thing but with no reward whatsoever, other than I'm slow, I'm fast.
Yeah,
I'm slow, I'm fast.
In psychology, we would call it positive reinforcement versus positive punishment.
Exactly.
Well, I don't have anything else. I had a fourth question, but I think we've had enough time and we kind of talked about it, so I don't need to go into it. Like I said, I didn't really have any awards that I wanted to talk about, mostly because they would be things like favorite temple, favorite shrine, things like that, but we didn't play enough to...
Lightning Temple is the best temple. Water Temple boss is the worst boss in any video game. I can't even remember what I literally can't even remember what the boss was, but I wrote down in my notes that it's the worst boss in any video game.
That's badass.
I think it was like a little slug or a squid or something, but
it was... When I say it's the worst, it had to do with the mechanics. Like the way that you beat it just really pissed me off. Like the execution of it was just not fun. I can't remember what it was for some reason.
I mean, his name's Muktarok, and looking him up, it's not what I thought he was gonna be. Just a little fucking fucker that like turns.
Yeah, but that's not how you fight him. He
turns into like sharks himself. And shit.
Yeah. He's like in a shark form, and then you have to like wash the sludge off him, and then that's when he's vulnerable. And that's actually every boss in this game. But the particular mechanic with this boss, I don't know, it just really made me mad. Like actually executing it was not anything I would ever define as fun.
Sounds like Mario Sunshine bosses.
I've never played that game, but I can imagine.
That is like by definition what the entire like water section is. It's just sludge and you're cleaning it up.
Which is Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, but the fact that you like clearing out the sludge, you used an arrow pissed me off. It really pissed me off. Unless there was another way to do it.
You just throw splash fruits.
Oh, so you didn't have to use an arrow?
No, an arrow would go farther and faster, but You could
Oh,
also
well,
like
that's my
you could
fault.
like
then.
you could fuse a hydrant, one of the Zonai devices, to a weapon and just attack with it too.
Oh, I didn't. I don't think. Maybe it's because I held W, but I didn't see hydrants until like way later on in the game.
I think. Oh, that is kind of weird. I think you get them in Death Mountain. That's kind of funny because you need them in for that. That's funny.
Yeah, because you need them for the lava.
Yeah. But like I said, I don't really have any awards I want to talk about. If you guys just want to move on to ratings, but if you have awards that you want to talk about, we could do them real quick.
I think you're right. I think everything would be things that we didn't really get to experience.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, Ben, what was your rating, Mr. Genshin Enjoyer?
Honestly, 8 out of 10. Like
Wow.
like if I didn't get if I wasn't so bad that I couldn't beat this boss, I 100% would want to keep playing and beat the game. Because and here's like I know that you guys should talk the story, but the version of the story in Genshin Impact the Natlan chapter was told so badly I quit the game. And seeing it told at least adequately in this game made me want to play just so I could see like that type of story being told in a not 0 out of 10 way.
That's funny.
Even if it's told in like a 6 out of 10 way, like I would like to see that telling of that Genshin Impact Natlane story as opposed to what I actually experienced, which was so bad I quit Genshin Impact.
Yeah, I mean
That's
the
badass.
Zelda dragon reveal is like actually really good. Like it's an all timer in the Zelda series, I think. Thomas.
So, before we started playing this game, I actually felt pretty adamantly that I didn't want to only play a fraction of the game, and that no matter how bad it was, I thought we should continue to soldier on through completion of the game just to like actually have a fleshed out opinion. But after my experience with the Wind Temple, I actually never want to launch this game ever again. In fact, the only thing I want to launch it into is the fucking sun. Because to me, Tears of the Kingdom reminds me of Disney World. Like, it is, again, as I've said a couple times, if I played this as a kid, I would find it absolutely jaw-droppingly awe-inspiring. Like, if I wasn't as critical about things as I am now, like the magic would just seem limitless. Like there's a new fucking discovery waiting around every corner of this game. But like Disney World, I'm returning to it with adult eyes, and like it makes the illusion crack, and all I can see is like the curated freedom that feels more like a fucking stage managed spectacle inside of a sterilized theme park. And like where the only freedom just means choosing what fucking line you get to wait in. And every emergent moment of this game felt like it was pre-approved by a committee of people wearing fucking Mickey Mouse ears. And so the systems pretend to be dynamic, but they never really like surprised me. And the exploration gestures at some level of openness, but it like constantly kept trying to herd me back onto rails. And now I know that there's people inside of the fucking Goofy costume. So it's a beautiful game. It's polished to a degree I'm not sure I have seen in many games before ever. Um, Playing it again in 8K 60 FPS was like actually extremely gorgeous. I loved looking at this game. I actually have like a whole fucking collection of screenshots I took while I was playing this game, but everything else about this game just felt so fucking hollow in a way that made me like mourn the wonder I used to feel when I played these games as a fucking child. 2 out of 10.
God dang. I do want to comment really quickly. It's really funny you saying that you want to eject it into the sun when this entire time I've been thinking about the difference between your experience with the Wind Temple and what you can do with the Sun Station in Outer Wilds. Very funny to me.
Nice.
Nice.
Go ahead, Sesh.
I mean, I have way less to say than Tom did. I feel like he shouldn't finish this. I mean, my rating is not of what the game is. It's what my experience was the game, which was absolutely terrible, and I hated it, and I thought it was like a repulsive experience that like I did not want to do from like basically when I jumped off the Temple of Time. or when you jumped off like the Sky Island down to the mainland. So it's a 2 out of 10 for me, and it's only because the sound design was so sick. It would be 1 out of 10 otherwise.
Yeah, actually, you know what's funny? I actually, once I found a fucking weapon, I actually really enjoyed the Sky Island. Like, as I was playing, I was
Yeah.
like, holy shit, I'm actually gonna like this game?
Yeah.
It was when I jumped down and had to do everything else where it just
Yep.
cratered.
When it was a lot more limited in scope, it was like a much better experience because you could
Yeah.
be like, oh, I have to go to the ice thing. How do I deal with the ice thing? It was like all the answers were self-contained.
Yeah, it's like I said earlier. I think if they just like literally shrank this game to a like morsel of what it is and kept it inside of a scope that wasn't just unnecessarily fucking large. There is a game in here that I like if if it's not the game that they made.
If
I
they basically made,
wonder-
like, Twilight Princess this game.
I wonder if I liked it a lot more because I held W.
Probably. I think I would have liked it more if I didn't, but I don't think I think I would have played this game for like 30 hours and never got to the Wind Temple if I just played it by just running around and doing shit.
And that's exactly how I played, and I fucking love the game for that.
Yeah.
I do not by any means think it is like an all-timer. I probably have like 4 or 5 or 6 Zelda games that I like more than this game. But I still can't deny that my experience on my first playthrough was lovely. The experience playing this one, the magic was almost there, but maybe partially because I had already done a lot of this before, I felt a lot of the friction a lot more than I did the first time. But then also knowing some of the like side systems that you can get, like the auto builder, and I started to enjoy it again. And then Thomas commented on his Wind Temple experience, and I realized that the developers they needed to put some things back in the drawing board and get a little bit more cohesive with its vision. So I was going to give it a 7 out of 10, but I'm going to drop it down to a 6 out of 10 for that reason.
Interesting. I figured you'd be. I can't believe Ben is the highest rating. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I just wanted to address something. I want to address something about ratings because, like, here's the thing. I'm a very binary kind of person. Like, I give lots of 10 out of 10s or close to 10s, but I also give a lot of zeros or very close to 0 out of 10. I'm not a very in-between kind of guy. Like,
That's funny.
If you entertain me enough, I'm going to like your game, basically.
I could like feel the downhill slope when you were sending the images with the number of floors in each temple. I'm like,
Oh, that was so
oh,
funny.
oh,
That was
no.
your favorite.
Yeah. Like, but it really wasn't that bad when I actually did them. It really wasn't that bad. It's just seeing
Yeah.
that many floors, just the raw number of them, like, stressed me the fuck out. Actually doing it, like, that, like, the one with the most floors, Lightning Temple, that was my favorite one. But yeah, just seeing the map at first was like, oh my god.
Game design perspective, that's actually really interesting that they show you how many floors there are for that exact reason. Like, do you really want to know you're about to do a 45 floor dungeon? No, but if you do it one floor at a time, you're probably going to love it.
I think the Zelda games have always been really good about that. A lot of my favorite dungeons have been the like towers that go up to floor fucking 20, like Ganon's Tower and Link to the Past and shit like that.
But it never like says, it never shows that to you, right? You have to visit the floors before you know they're there.
Once you get the map, it shows it.
That's true.
So here's a ex post facto award. Best Zelda dungeon of all time. Good luck.
Oh, I have an instant answer. Easy.
Oh, good.
It's hard for me to answer because this is out of every Zelda game I ever played, this is the one I've played the most of and gotten the furthest in.
Oh wait,
You never
Seth,
beat a Zelda?
I grew up as a Sega kid.
Damn.
Oh,
I mean, I'm
wow.
not saying
Seth.
I'm not like surprised. I'm just I'm making sure that you have it.
What's up?
Sorry, I kept interrupting you guys, but I really wanted to get this out that I want to guess the dungeon that you think.
I feel like I've talked about it before. It's like it's not close. I love a lot of dungeons, but the number one is not even close.
Is it the Stone Temple?
It's Stone Tower Temple for Majora's Mask. Not close.
Nice.
Fucking knew it.
That is peak dungeon design. It is the perfect intersection of subtle storytelling. Everything leading up to that temple is just fucking immaculate. Oh my god! If you haven't played Majora's Mask in a while, go back and do that dungeon.
I would need to because I don't remember anything about that game other than like general vibes and like certain very specific things about like narrative shit. I don't remember any of the dungeons from Majora's Mask at all.
I remember opening it up in the emulator and then finding out there was a time limit, and then I never played it again.
It's probably like the worst Ben game possible.
I think it
Yeah.
is. I like the idea of it in my head, and that's about it.
It does definitely have friction.
I think there's one game I could think of that would be worse for Ben, and it's a Metroidvania game where if you take too long to beat it, the people in the village just start dying.
Jesus.
So here's the thing, like, when it comes to like crazy friction, like the things that I'll tolerate is very much a case by case basis. And it's hard to explain why, because like I can give one example and you can hear this example and be like, how is that like better than like any other shit? And it's not. I just love it for some reason because of the game it's staple to. And that's in Dragon's Dogma 2. There are certain things that can happen where I guess I don't want to spoil it, but I will spoil the outcome. Literally every NPC dies in the game. And like stuff like that can happen. And like I just accept that because I love that game so much. But I guess if I don't love the game, I don't accept any. I accept way less.
Is that a fail state or is that?
No, it's not, because
Did
there's
you
an
just
item
spoil the
you
whole
get.
game for us?
No, it's just something that can happen. But you can there are systems in the game to come back from that catastrophic failure.
Gotcha.
So wait, Thomas, did you have one?
Say again?
Did you have one?
I have one that probably no one maybe would ever guess ever, which is
The bandit one from Link to the Past.
Nope. It's from Link's Awakening.
Oh, what
Oh.
the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
Is it the water one?
If I tell you that, you might be able to guess it. No, it's the Eagle's Tower.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, that dungeon fucking rules, and the boss is sweet.
I probably would say something from Link's Awakening if I played it more recently. I mean, because that's my favorite Zelda game, but I can't. I'm so far removed from Zelda games that I can't really remember any specific dungeon experience. And the only one that I can is Ganon's Tower from Ocarina of Time. So I probably have to say that just out of like not like making shit up. It's the only thing I remember.
I think if you want a deeper cut, my second favorite is probably from Oracle of Ages. I can't remember what it's called, but it's one of the ones I was thinking of where it has a million floors, but it's really cool. I fucking love the Oracle games. Oh.
Yeah, I actually like the handheld games way more than all of the 3D games, I think, personally.
I like the handheld
Thomas, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are handheld games.
Shut up.
I guess to answer...
Go ahead, Ben.
No, I guess to answer the question, it's lightning simple from this game because I mean, like my answers are very limited, and it's the temple I like the most. So that's it. That's all.
Yeah, I think the handheld games before Phantom Hourglass are the best Zelda experiences.
Yeah, I don't know where Minish Cap fits and all that, but Minish Cap I thought was sweet.
Minish Cap is really good.
Yeah, they're all like even Four Swords Adventures, like everything before they got the DS was like peak Zelda shit to me.
I never played the Link to the Past pseudo
Link Between Worlds. Yeah,
I
haven't either, but I know everyone who likes Link to the Past that I know loves that game. So
yeah, I've been meaning to check that out for a while.
We do it for this at some point because that's apparently like a really good modern 2D Zelda.
That'd be interesting to periodically do Zelda games since I've established the precedence.
I don't know if you guys will choose this, but I do want to play Wind Waker now at some point.
That game's really good.
That'd be fun. Yeah, it's a really good game. I've played it like so many fucking times.
Yeah, because I've never played it, and I don't even know how you would play it. Like, how do you even play it in the year 2025?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I don't know if that's like too much of a discussion.
GameCube games are emulatable.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Well, yeah, they're all emulatable. The only problem,
I'd rather have like a more modern way to do it because, like, I don't want to see those fucking nasty ass GameCube input glyphs on my screen.
Did they ever remake it or remaster it?
Yeah, there's an HD.
Yes.
Is it on the Switch?
I think it's Wii U.
Is it not on the Switch?
It's definitely.
Wait, hold on. Let me.
Wii U.
I'll grab my Switch and I'll check this. I can Google this one.
Fuck! Whenever you say Wii U, that makes me think of the fucking god Chad Warden, the original OG console war veteran general.
I don't even know who the fuck you're talking about.
You don't know who Chad Warden is?
It is on Switch 2.
Oh my god! Hold on.
Is it Wind Waker HD on Switch 2? I thought it was the GameCube version.
Yeah, it's HD is on Switch 2, but not Switch 1.
So yeah, no, we get one.
I refuse to believe that you don't know who Chad Warden is. I refuse to believe it.
Oh, this is the PS Triple guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, before we get too off the rails,
Sorry,
so that I don't have
sorry.
to edit another 3 hours of audio. Do we want to spin the wheel?
Yeah. I wish I brought up Zelda game tier list to make before this because I thought that would have been cool. Like we did in Final Fantasy 1.
I feel like I'm so far removed from like the last 3D Zelda I played literally is Wind Waker. Like
I've missed 2.
I've played a lot of them, but not more than like 15 minutes.
I've played every single 3D Zelda game at least 3 times. I will fight anyone. My opinions are very strong on each of them.
Maybe we should have done it then.
I've played a ton of Zelda games, but like when I say play, it's usually like opening them up in the emulator and playing like 20 minutes. So like my tier list would just have
this game
tiers at the top and then every other game at below tiers somewhere
F2.
basically.
You got the wheel, Thomas?
I do.
We are going to play Leap Year.
Perfect. I'm not going to edit any of that. It's all just going to be awkward silence.
Yeah, I'm a big reason why I picked this game is because I'm interested if Ben hates it.